Hey everyone, welcome back to the Bunk and Pick podcast. Pick here with Bunk. Give us that wonderful accent you got there.
What's up?
What's up? Where the hell did that come from?
That's from.
We know. Yeah,
That's from the. And then we have a dog barking. That's what's up.
yeah, that's a barking dog there.
Holy crap!
All right, we are joined today though in-house. Big G, all the way from Florida, made his way to Austin.
Hello, man.
Oh boy, he's very cool. Hello.
And then we have Tom Selleck on with
Thomas
us today.
J. Selleck.
So Magnum PI himself. Medium G, that is probably the grossest mustache I've seen in a long time.
I like. Oh my god!
Oh Jesus!
It's moving.
No one.
Yeah.
He has a.
Holy
he has
crap.
I think my lip is twerking.
Oh boy!
Medium G has a adolescent caterpillar on his under his nose. It's pretty rough looking, dude. Be honest with you.
I like it.
Today, though, you have to trust the process, Nick.
I
1
like
week,
it.
2 weeks from today, it could be marvelous. You don't know.
I think you move it down a bit and
I'm
go
just
Fu
saying,
Manchu.
I've seen. Oh my god.
Fu Manchu.
I was thinking shaving the top,
Boof
and just
Bonzer.
having the real thin upper lip one.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
I like that.
It's like a lot of
Is that
work.
that's a Peter Lorre stash?
Peter Lorre.
Also known as Carson Beck. Carson Beck
a.k.a.
stash.
Peter Lorre.
All right. This is already off the rails, and I'm loving every minute of it.
I like it.
We all know what's going on this week. Let's not beat around the
Wait
bush.
a minute. We're not getting
Wait,
there.
okay. What are you going to do
This
then?
is the last podcast of the year.
Oh,
We've
man.
completed
Didn't even think
the
about
year
that.
2024 last podcast. We need to do some reflections. I wish I had good reflection music. Damn it.
All right. All right. Reflections.
Reflection music.
Here's the reflection I want. I'm going to ask Medium G and Big G first. Favorite bunkism of the year? Whoever would like to go.
Oh, God damn.
There's been a
Mud
lot.
in the dumpers is
Mud in the
Mud in the
dumper.
dumper.
mud dumpers is tough.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
And pumping ass.
Yeah, that was probably my number one. Is when Dad said he used to hit on girls by saying, "I'm going to put some mud in your dumper." Or something.
Oh, boy.
That's not how that went.
Oh, boy.
Well, we're canceled, boys.
Wow. Woo! I can't even expound on
There's a
that.
dog going crazy in the background. This is
my
awesome.
God.
I'm in town, baby.
All right.
Yeah.
Give us your best-
Big G's entourage
best
is here.
miss-
No. Hang on. I got to say that pumping the ass was definitely because
That
that
was
was
a good
I wasn't prepared for how zany Bunk over here was going to be when we started this, and he threw that one out real early on me, and I had to backtrack it a little bit. So I think pumping the ass
I like
was
it.
Definitely my favorite
I like
bunkism
it.
of the year.
I like, it kind of goes along with what Medium G was talking, just so you know.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
Pumping. My God.
Oh, those were
Please
two different. One was
don't-
baseball.
Yeah,
Please
I know,
don't
but
link.
you know, you
stop.
can go both
Stop linking those.
ways.
Stop it.
Okay.
All right, Bunk. What was your favorite bunkism from yourself this year?
I'm going to tell you, can't even remember them all. They just fly right out. And I like it. I like it.
I kind of forgot about the pontoon because you guys don't
Pontoon.
talk about food anymore, but the pontoon
Pontoon.
was outrageous.
The pontoon
we
was
could,
pretty
we'll
good.
talk more
Oh, we're going
food
to
as
bring
we
it all
go.
this going. Yeah, we're coming back. We got a big year plan.
Coming back strong.
Big year,
Big,
2025.
big year. All right. Medium G had a question.
What's your question?
Oh, I think he was
I
asking
didn't. I was
Big
just
G.
gonna- no question. I was just going to chime in, but it's passed. Let's
Okay.
move forward.
No,
all right.
we want. Let's reverse it just for you.
He wanted to hear.
I
I know what
for-
he
I
wanted. He
forgot
wanted
it,
Big
though.
G's best dog impression of his own dog.
Oh yeah, let me hear your Misty bark. That is way too quiet. To
Yeah,
be
that
Misty.
wasn't
does that all the
not even close.
Not even.
He must have tinnitus from his own children and dog.
Oh my
You
god!
haven't had enough of her screaming?
Oh, I've been dealing with it for 2 days. You live in it.
I do.
I was born in it. I was born in it.
Yeah, I'm uncomfortable in the silence now because of
Oh boy!
You have to have white noise on
Have
your
to have
phone at
something,
all
yeah.
times. God. All right. Yeah, it's been a good year though.
It has been. It's been a lot of fun.
What do you think we'll be talking about a year from now?
I'm hoping we're talking about how many millions of viewers and listeners we have right here
be
on
nice.
station B and P.
That would be nice.
I just made that up. B and
That'd be
P
nice.
station.
That would be pretty good.
Yeah. No, I think we're joined by someone. a little tiny reptile showed up.
God. Multiple reptile. All right. I need to hear this story again from Medium G. The reptile story of how he almost got like alienated from the reptile world.
Tell us about Big Sherm, Big Murph, or whatever.
Big Sherm. You overblew that story.
It's the truth. You said you thought you were about to get blacklisted.
I probably wouldn't have gone back to that store, that pet shop, which is the best pet shop in Austin. It's like the only good pet for reptiles. I'm talking about like exotic pets in Austin. That would have been terrible if I couldn't go back. But we went around Black Friday, I think. Isn't that right, Bunk?
Yep.
And Bunk was with us, and he's a key part in this because it's all his fault. We go to the reptile store, and I knew that I was going to get Olivia a crested gecko, or a gecko that she wanted, because we had another lizard that had died a couple weeks before that, so we wanted to get another one. And as we were there, we saw these blue-tongued skinks, which they're not rare at all, but they're very popular and really cool animals and very nice. But the problem is they grow to like 30 inches long with tail included. So you need like a 70-inch enclosure at least lengthwise. And I would have to, number one, I live in a tiny apartment. I don't have 70 inches of space here for me even. Like, that would be more living room than I have. So I sat with him looking at him that night. I got him set up in this tiny cage. He was pretty small. He was like a baby. And I was like, I can't do it. I can't fucking do it. And I went the first thing in the morning. I wrapped him back up and I took him back to the store and I begged them to please let me exchange him. And they didn't want to do it. They had eyed me up. And you can imagine it's a pretty bad look to return an animal like a dog or something the next day and just be like, I don't want him. That's not a good look. But after they found out that I wanted their like $400 leaf tail gecko with their however many hundreds bioactive setup that they made, I was like a VIP member.
From worst to first, my friend.
Was the mustache a stipulation of the trade?
There are a lot of mustaches in the reptile world.
Oh, God.
I can't. Oh, gross.
I don't know what that means, but wow.
I don't want to hear about your reptile mustaches.
Besides, there's a lot of people wearing mustaches.
Oh, God. Gary still lives in 1922. We wear mustaches, folks.
Where am I?
We're wearing a mustache. I love it.
All right. At some point before you shave it, we got to just for a minute.
Ferment.
Well, I'm
just for
see you
men.
on Wednesday.
Just for men.
For a minute.
Yeah, we got to get that thing jet black.
Oh, God. No.
Yeah, come on.
It's too stringy. It's going to look grosser if it's black.
It's the Keith Hernandez stash is what we need.
I don't think I could. That would take a lifetime.
That would be a good one.
All right. Well, there's some big football games coming up. When everybody's listening to this, there's one that night. We're recording the day before, though. But I'd like to start on it because we do have our resident Penn State guy in. How you feeling about it?
About the matchup coming up or overall?
About Boise State?
I feel good about Boise State. Really good, actually. I mean, as good as you can feel in a college football game. I mean, any team can beat any team at this point, whether you think they can or they can't or they deserve to be there or not. They're all good teams. So Genty could rattle off 300 and he could carry the team and win. But I would take my odds as a Penn State fan that we are more than favored, I think, in my eyes, to win that game by maybe a touchdown. So I'm feeling pretty good.
Only a touchdown. So it's an 11-point spread right now. So the money has definitely been pouring into on Penn State.
My issue with the line and the overall, I think the overall is like under 55 or somewhere 52. It's in the 50s.
53.5.
My problem with that is I don't think it's going to reach that because Genty obviously is going to run the hell out of the ball. That's wasting clock. The Penn State running backs are finally clicking. They're going to run the ball all day long. We're looking at an old school running game and the clock's just going to tick away.
I think Penn State blows them out.
I don't think they blow them out.
I think it's
hard
going to be
agree with Gary.
To blow out a running team, though.
It's not.
I mean, they could waste half a quarter on one possession.
I think that's the issue. I don't think there's going to be enough time to blow them out. I think they win comfortably. Though.
You go up 14 and force them to throw?
They won't throw. They'll stick with Genty.
I think they will.
Then they're just going to get demolished. You can't just run. Penn State's front seven is... Boise State has not seen a front seven that talented this year. You can't say Oregon has that. You can't. Oregon is good, but they're not that Penn State's defense. Those linebackers are just as fast and just as physical as Genty.
Well,
Even if
the-
they're running
the-
between the tackles, which Big
the
G over
devil's
here,
advocate though is they should have beat Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
they should have beat Oregon, but Oregon is that was also week 2. Oregon's
Yeah,
a
it was
much
long
different
time
team
ago,
now.
before people knew really how good Genty was.
I think everyone knew how good he was. I mean, he had a
Not
monster
this
year
good.
last
Who
year.
thought he was going to break Sanders' record? Possibly nobody.
Right. He has to get 150 in this game to break it. I don't think he breaks Sanders' record.
I think he gets it.
He might get 150. I think they're going to
He's
run him
going
a
to get the
lot.
ball like 30
I
times.
know. I agree. I don't think he. I just
don't
don't
think
think
he's
they're going to
getting
score
150.
much. I don't think they're going to score more than 10 points. So,
I just don't
Wow,
think 150 is
really?
happening.
nah, I don't see them doing more than 10.
I was
10.
thinking like they
10
could
points.
maybe get to 20, like maybe 17.
No, I just the Penn State defense is it's the best defense they will have faced, and it's obvious how one-dimensional Boise State wants to be. Right? If that quarterback can beat Penn State, then hats off to him. That's an upset. Let the quarterback beat him, but don't let Genty beat you. So you're going to stack that box, and you're going to let your secondary play man on the outside and win every matchup, right? Because it's just going to be out athlete each other at
The
that
DBs
point.
are really good at Penn State too in the pass. And my issue with that though, Nick, is I looked up the quarterback stats and they're pretty good. Like he is completing at like a 67 almost percent completion. He has 2,600 yards. He's got a ton. Like him and Aller are now he has more pass attempts than Aller, believe it or not. But they have comparable stats. Pretty much. I think Aller edges them in most of them, but it's pretty close.
But Aller played against the Ohio State
I know that.
You know what I
know
mean?
that.
So like it's different. I don't. It's almost feels apple to oranges at this point.
Not to me the completion percentage. That to me that doesn't matter who you play against. That's having a receiver who can catch and get open, and you who can throw more so than a defense. To me,
I mean,
All right,
what is
just
Genty,
on completion percentage.
Genty averages over 7-8 yards a carry.
He's
So-
he's at 4.4
Okay. Is he
On the year.
on the season?
Yeah, because he runs the ball almost 40 times
runs
a
a
game.
lot.
So if he
Yeah, he runs
runs
a
the ball
lot.
35 times and gets a 4 and some change per run, I mean, he's still running above
But he's
30.
not. But he's not going to get that against
But
that
he-
Penn State front seven.
Him by himself will get 2 yards if the line can just give him a tiny margin.
But that's what I'm saying. The line won't.
They will.
They're going to get pushed back.
Not
He's
every
going to have
play.
to create in the backfield to make space.
I know what you're saying. Penn State knows it's one-dimensional. Genty's going to run. Boise State's O-line also knows we have to do this because Genty is going to run. So I'm not saying they're going to win. I'm not saying it. It might not even be close because Aller is a really good quarterback. But Genty will get his yards. It's just a fact. It's going to happen because his line will make room for him to get 4 or 5 and then break off a 10 or 20, maybe not 20 because they're fast, but he'll break off 10 yards.
God damn, those Abdul Carter will run him down. That guy's a beast.
That's fine, but
Yeah.
like, I know the
Yep.
speed, but Genty runs up the middle and gets his yards. Makes
That's
one
not-
guy
I
miss.
get that. I get that
what
though, but they're going to
concerns
stuff
me-
that.
Not every time.
What
Not 35
concerns me
times.
is they may stuff it, but if you've actually watched Genty run, he gets stuffed a lot, and he still runs for 12. Like he
That's what
bounces
I mean.
off.
He gets one big one. He
That's the
breaks
scary
explosives.
part about playing Boise is maybe Abdul Carter does just get a 2-yard in the backfield hit that he bounces off of, and then there's nobody behind him in the secondary, and he runs for 30. That's
Yeah.
the fear with Genty.
Okay, but I will argue that with statistical facts saying that Penn State is top 10 in explosive plays against. That means not very many people are running explosive plays against them, either passing or running. And that's any
Yeah.
play over 20 yards. They're top 10. They're going to stop it.
But Genty getting 10 yards is an explosive play for Boise's offense.
Yeah, but 10 yards, okay, that's an explosive play for their offense. But say Penn State scores quick twice, 10 yards is not going to help them.
I think to Bunk's
That's
point,
worst case
though,
scenario for Boise.
yeah, I think to Bunk's point, Penn State can score in a minute and a half. Boise can have the ball for 8 minutes.
I get that, but you won't have the ball for 8 minutes if you're not getting first down. So he has to get enough yards to get those first downs to put him in third and short. I just don't see him doing that.
Well, what do you think Boise's going to come out? Their script plays, right? Their first possession, whatever you want to call it, 10 plays. What do you think?
First play,
In my mind, I think they're going to try and lift the top.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. The first play is going to be a play action over the top on the outside.
you got to back up you can need to make room for when Genty can peel off a linebacker like I was talking about and gives them that room. I think they come out pretty aggressive in the air.
But if it gets stopped quick, they're scrambling.
Well, if you take just the first possession, assuming they go 3 and out, I think 2 of those will still be runs. Maybe one creative run, maybe one just kind of stretch just to see what's going on, and then a pass of maybe 15 yards or more. But I think it's really important that they do that pass, because if they don't, Penn State is just, you do not want Penn State creeping in the box with extra guys.
Hell no.
You're done.
Those guys hit so hard.
You are done.
Also, but something else to factor in is if they have to get the ball first, though, right? If Penn State gets the ball first and scores, what do? I mean, you're going to skip
your script play.
Right.
You want to see how they react to your whole plan.
If I was in Boise State's shoes at that, I go down 7 quick. I have to keep up. I have to try and press.
That's how
you have to keep up. But that's how every small team plays it.
But not when you have Ashton Genty at running back.
They don't think they're a small team, number one. And down 7, I don't think they're worried at all.
They can think what they want, but
get them two touchdowns for them to alter their plan. Because say Penn State does score fast, to me, the best strategy for Boise is more runs by Genty to slow it back down.
Yeah.
Slow it down. Let's chew some clock. Let's even a goal could just be flip the field and try and pin them in the 10, and that's a win.
I'm just saying there's a massive difference between Utah State and Penn State.
Yeah. I mean, I think UNLV was the best defense. Besides Oregon, who was the best team they played?
UNLV.
Probably UNLV, right? I think they were ranked.
But who was a legitimate? I mean, they were a legitimate
good
defense. I mean, their D line has like 2 NFL guys on it.
They were ranked at the time they played. I think they were ranked 7th in team defense. But if you saw who they played, Greg, it's like
no. But I'm talking
not even comparable.
It's not
and
the same
Penn State
as Penn
was like 4th, so they were even above them.
It's not the same as Penn State, but the guys they had at UNLV are legitimate NFL guys.
Yeah.
So it's the physicality that Pick loves.
I'm interested. How do you get to a blowout? How does a blowout happen to you?
Get in here, Bunk. Come on.
I don't think it's a blowout. I think it's close in the first half, and I think Penn State. I think they pull away in the second half.
Just pulls away. Okay.
Because I think they're going to eat. Generally in those games, you see, and Boise might come out and maybe first or second drive, make a nice drive. Penn State's going to be up at the half probably by a few, but they're just too big and strong. I think they just wear them down. I don't see any way Boise stays with them in the second half. I think
Penn State's such a slow team, though. This year they're one of the slowest teams to score. They're so bad in the first half that they could be closer losing. They were losing to like 4 teams this year.
Yeah, they don't start out really strong, but they're just too big. And I mean, second half, I think the game is going to be it's just going to get pulled away. I think it's going to be like 24-10 at the end is kind of my prediction.
Which is a sizable win.
Yeah,
that's 14 at that point.
But I don't, and I'm going to say I don't think it honestly is probably ever in jeopardy. I think it's probably competitive. Maybe
it's going to feel like Penn State just controls the game.
Yeah, I think they're just going to shut them down in the second half. But I think the first half will probably be fairly competitive.
My only hope for the game is that people realize that Boise should have been there. I hope Boise.
Boise 100% should be there.
No, I'm saying I just
screw everybody else is saying the Bamas and that's
Alabama. We got it rolled.
But we talked about that. That's gone now, right? The first round's done. And so the Cinderella stories in basketball work because they're not it's not as physical game, right? Where just people are bigger and stronger than you, you're probably going to lose. If the team across from you is bigger, stronger, faster, you're losing that game for the most part, right? Unless you have like the few players make big plays, whatever. But 9 times out of 10, you're losing. In basketball, it's not like that. So it's just the first round is whatever, honestly. And I think you earlier, Big G, made a good point of saying like any team that's going into a hostile environment in that situation, it's going to have a very hard time winning a football game when the crowd is drunk as shit and raging. And it's a home game essentially it is a home game for the other team. I love the home playoffs. I think it's amazing. It honestly forces teams to play better down to the end because you get that in the end, right? Texas going away would have felt a lot worse. If Texas went to Clemson, would have felt a lot worse about that game than what it was. I never felt in jeopardy at all in that Texas game. You look at that friggin' atmosphere in Notre Dame, Indiana had no chance walking into that place. No chance.
My God, you talk about shit in the bed. I don't think I wasn't on last time to talk to you guys since the first round happened.
No, the punt.
If I had paid Kurt Signetti and I saw that game, I would have buyer's remorse, my friend.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It was
that
bad
guy
coaching.
was a deer in headlights.
It was bad coaching.
That was
He
a
made
bad
some
look right there.
Yeah. I agree.
That was rough, man.
I don't think he was ready for. I don't know what he was doing.
Looked completely out of his element.
He was not aggressive enough.
He was still doing marketing. He was still putting
that
himself
bullshit
in front
he
of
said.
cameras
He
instead of
said
with
that
his team.
stuff on game day. He said, "Well, we
Crazy.
beat the shit out of top 25 teams." Yeah, don't give somebody that,
Crazy.
especially when you're there. Don't give somebody that. That's dumb.
They would have
I
done
also
better.
don't mind it.
You got to know when to walk away.
I
This
thought it
guy,
was okay.
he had the
I liked
world.
it.
He could have done anything. He had beaten all the big games. He had done all the. It's such a success if he just went in there super humble and said, "We're going to
It's
do."
not
our
who he
best."
is, though.
I know
That's not who he is.
I
But when
appreciate
when you lose like that, Nick, and you punt when he did, and you made all the
That was
terrible
bad.
calls, he played scared.
He gave
And for
away the
12
yeah.
games
He
this
gave
year, he
away
played
the game.
super hyper aggressive, and he just threw it out. That's why I'm saying buyer's remorse, because you put this guy in big lights. You're talking about big game James. Who big game Kurt would be worse.
Yeah,
Way worse.
Yes,
He
I'm
wasn't
with you.
aggressive. They
I'm with you.
definitely weren't aggressive enough. I mean, that's a winner go home thing. You got to be more aggressive. And I mean, yeah, like I think we talked last time. I don't think he's played at that level and coached at that level. So, maybe learn something. And next time you got to go for it. You can't back down.
Yeah. It just feels to me about this whole playoff thing. What I'm kind of realizing is that first round is really almost. I mean, they're going to play, but most of the time we're going to have lopsided games in that, because there's a huge difference between, I know I come back to Texas because Texas, but Texas was the third ranked team ranking wise, but they had to play in the 5 seed and they're playing the 12. And honestly, that was probably the most competitive game only because Texas let Clemson stay in it.
Mhm.
So those games are kind of like, they're good for football and they're kind of a show, but we're not going to get too many upsets in that when the playoff really starts this round, right? And every year we're not going to have Arizona State and Boise State getting buys. That's just not going to happen. They're going to restructure this thing where that's never going to happen.
Yeah,
honestly.
But that's horseshit, because one
But
of
they-
those teams is a Power 5 team.
Yeah, they deserve. I mean, they
They
deserve
do.
to be
No,
there.
they do. And where they're seated, they deserve to be exactly where they're at. I 100% agree with that here. And the teams that made it deserve to make it. But it's going to get restructured to where, like, Penn State was a really good football team. They lost 2 games this year close, right? Texas lost twice to the same team that's ranked higher than them. Like, those teams probably should have, if they set it up correctly, been a bye team. Now, they didn't win, so that's on Texas and that's on Penn State. That's not on anybody else. You can't get mad at committee for putting anybody anywhere. You got to win the football games. But there's going to be some restructuring, because I think sadly, a lot of the power players in college football don't feel good about Arizona State and Boise State getting that bye. They don't feel good about it at all.
They
Because
deserved it, though. They
did.
That's
It's a
the way it
wake-up
was
call.
set up.
They
I
did.
think they deserve. You know what? I will say this: Boise State and Arizona State can both win the game. If Penn
Absolutely.
State has turnovers, they're going to be in trouble.
Same with Texas.
If Texas has turnovers, they're going to be in trouble. Because and I know you and I disagree on this, Vic. I actually thought Clemson game was a lot more. I thought it was a lot closer, and I felt like
I thought they could have won.
I
even
thought
late in the game.
Clemson was pretty competitive, and I thought they were really ready for Texas. And Texas did not dominate like they should have.
They did in the first half, not in the second.
No, but I'm just saying, and Clemson got within 7, and then Texas had a long run, which that's not going to happen every time. And
No, it's not. No, I'm with you there.
I was not comfortable with the game.
But I would argue on paper, Clemson is on paper, Big G.
That didn't mean anything.
Clemson is a better team than Arizona State.
If you were talking
No,
about
oh my God, not this
On
year.
paper.
Not this
if we
year.
were doing on paper, then there would be 9 SEC
No, I
teams
get
in the
that.
playoffs.
No, I
What does
get
on
that.
paper mean?
By
What does on
stats
paper
of the
mean?
year.
They're
Stats of the
247
year.
like
how
recruits?
they've played throughout the year. No, I'm not talking about
They
that
did worse.
stuff. Run game they did worse, but not
Clemson
pass game.
struggled. Clemson
Their
struggled.
pass
in the
game was much
beginning,
better.
and then they got really good. Or, I'm sorry, they got like really average, like pretty good. And then at the end of the season, I think they got struck with a lot of injuries and stuff. But they were looking like a playoff team to me.
Yeah, Clemson.
They should have been.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm saying
But
Clemson.
Arizona State has just been walking through teams.
Yeah, but look what just happened to one of the perceived best teams in that conference got waxed in their bowl game with all their
But
starters.
You're going to turn into
against
one of the ESPN
BYU.
analysts if you keep saying like you got the team wins, they're in. Period.
No,
It's
I'm
over.
with you there. No,
And to
I'm
be
with
honest,
you
in
there.
college, it shouldn't matter where your place seed wise. If
Just
you're one of
win.
the top teams, if you're one of the perennial powerhouses, just win the freaking game like you've been doing for 115 years. What's
Right,
the
but getting that bye, you could argue is helpful, right? Because Texas lost 2 offensive linemen in that first round game that they would
Yes.
still have if they got the bye.
Notoriously, I think Bunk has thrown this out there, and I'm a big believer in this too. The more time you take off from football, especially at the college level, the worse you're going to be.
I agree.
We see every year a national championship game, they're so slow and just, I mean, it's like, I remember the commercials more than the first halves of all those
That's
games
fair.
until the second half and they get loosened up. And then it's like those classic battles going back and forth. The longer they take off, the worse it is, in my view.
I think it's
that
worse for the
happened
coaches.
For the coaches too,
'Cause
more time to think.
They overanalyze shit.
Yeah.
So they're spending 2 weeks on a team and overthinking everything. And the other team, if you're coming out of that Penn State game as Penn State after that crowd just got you absolutely jacked for that game,
Yeah, dude.
and you get to roll immediately into the next one, knowing that's tough.
Yes.
That's why I think that first round home game could be an advantage in
It
this
is.
playoff
It could absolutely
situation
good.
all the way
could
through.
be.
Because there's no teams that are just absolutely like the rest of these teams have no chance. Every single team in this playoffs has a chance.
So where is that game there, Mid-G?
In
Is that the
Arizona.
Sugar Bowl? That's the
Fiesta.
Fiesta Bowl? Okay, so
Yeah.
you got to think. I mean,
In a
Penn
dome.
State travels very well, fans-wise, but you got to feel like Boise's going to travel.
Boise's going to show up.
Yeah, much
I think
closer.
they're going to show up with an incredible crowd.
So it probably crowd-wise is probably leaning towards Boise. So there's a possibility. I don't see it. I just don't.
No, I don't see it either.
don't see it.
I think but I do think it's going to be a competitive game. I don't think.
I think that's just where I differ from you guys.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see it. I just, unless one team is making mistakes, I don't. I mean, Boise. I don't know. Maybe the defense just forces turnovers for Penn State. If that happens, it's going to be a blowout.
Right. Yeah.
But it could. I think I will say this: if Penn State has turnovers, I think they can recover. If Boise has turnovers, I think it's going to be over really early.
Penn State can recover. Boise cannot recover.
That's what I mean. I don't think they can recover. Not against the defense.
All right, that's the first game. Now I want to get score prediction. You got 24-10.
24-10.
Okay. How about you, Big G?
Shit. I mean, that was probably my line. If I was going,
You can go with it.
I'm probably going to. I'll say 24-17.
All right. 24-17. I'll give you the last one. I'm saying 35-14. Penn State. All right, medium G.
This is so hard because I don't know how many points are going to be scored. I don't know if they're going to get to the 30s just based on possessions. 28 to 21.
Wow, that's
have a little
very
closer than you
close.
I don't think Boise's going to quit if they're down 2 touchdowns with 4 minutes to go.
Of course they're not
Yeah,
going to quit.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Right.
So it
All
may
right.
be closer on paper. It may just be a really close game that Penn State gets a touchdown late in the fourth or something. But yeah, I think Penn State wins by about a touchdown.
Yeah. All right. Well, I would like to cover the Texas game next because honestly, the other 2 games are the big games.
I agree.
Right. I think me and Big G again differ on this in that you think Scatterboo could get going for.
I know Texas has an
I
excellent
do.
defense. They have an excellent front seven. They have been run on.
They have been run on.
They have been run on.
I'm not
by
saying
a
they
bunch of
haven't.
teams. And Scatterboo is an above average back. He's going to get his yards.
I think the thought is make Levitt beat my award-winning DBs.
That's fine, but that kid, he will make mistakes. He won't quit. He stays level. He's not like he doesn't freak out like a freshman. He's played super reliably. And honestly, he made his mistakes early in the year. He's kind of solid on that back half. Scatterboo's going to get his yards, and Levitt will make some throws. And if Texas does not stop the run, it's going to be gross. Like, they're going to have to rely on big runs or big pass plays, which I know they can do.
No, Arizona State's going to have to rely on that.
No, because it's the same thing with the Penn State game. If Scadaboo can run, if he's constantly getting good runs, they can eat clock.
Texas is the number 1 defense in the nation for a reason.
I'm not saying they're not good. You're looking at this all wrong. This is 2 playoff teams. This is not a conference game.
The playoffs.
I know, but I understand what you're saying there.
This is one and done.
I understand what you're saying there.
This is a little.
There is a massive difference between Texas and Arizona State. There's a huge difference between those 2 teams. There's a huge difference.
On paper.
No.
Yes.
On watching that defense play that offense, Texas is going to shut them down.
Dude, defensive speed doesn't matter if you have a back that can get up the middle. That just eliminates a lot of your defensive stuff.
Back up the middle doesn't matter when you have Liango Lafau and Anthony Hill coming downhill murdering people.
Okay, 3 yards downfield.
No, dude, they're meeting people in the hole.
I'm going to let Bunk and
I love it.
Medium G
I love it.
get in here on this.
I'm behind because I'm looking up stats as you guys are talking. I think it's Nick. I think you got to relax on the defenses are so great. They're gonna get 1 yard. These are playoff teams.
I'm not saying they're not going to get yards.
Yeah, you do though, because you're saying they're so much better, and you're saying even if they break one for 3, the safeties are going to break their necks on yard 4. They're going to get theirs, dude. Scadaboo is the 6th best running back in the country. And they have a receiver with over 1,000 yards already. I know already. It's the playoffs. It's the end of the year. Like, this is a team. This is a better team than you're giving them credit for.
The best, you could say the best cornerback in the Big 12 is Travis Hunter, who got given the Heisman for what?
He's not
snaps.
He's not the best.
Well, that's what everybody else. I mean,
you got the award.
Everybody said you got to give him. I mean, you got the award, right? Texas has the number 1 in the Thorpe, and they have a guy that got thrown on 5% of the time because no one wants to throw to him, Manny Muhammad. Good luck. You know what? You beat me in the air, then you beat me. I'm selling out, and I'm stopping Scadaboo. I'm making Levitt try because my secondary is too good.
I think Texas. I think this is an easier game than the Penn State game. I think Arizona State. I think they're going to run and get yards, but I think they're going to have a hard time actually scoring. Is my take. I think they're going to go. They might go up and down the field a bit and get the yardage, and it may look good. But I don't. As far as getting in the end zone, man, I don't see that happening a lot. I got a much bigger spread on this one than I did on the Penn State
How many
game.
points do you think they can score?
I'm going to be honest. I'll say maybe they score late too. I'm going to say this is up like Texas 35-13, something like that. I think it's going to get away from them pretty early. I don't. Now again, if Texas starts making mistakes and turnovers, it's going to be tough. But I think they'll get yards between the 20-yard lines. I just don't see them scoring a lot. That's
Because of
take.
Texas. So you're putting it all on Texas's D.
Yeah, indeed, they do give up runs.
So
I'll say they give up runs.
Texas offense. How much does Texas score?
Well, I think Texas can put 35 on them.
It all comes down as if the offensive line can open up holes. If the running back gets going, if Jaden Blue gets going, if Wisner gets going, that game is over. Because they start playing play action off of that, they're going to hit big downfield because Isaiah Bond's back. The best receiver on that team is back for this game, fully healthy. Like, there's a lot of potential for Texas to just boat race them.
But I will say, the thing that bugs me about Texas is that's when they're playing good. If they come out like they did in like the first Georgia game or something, they're going to be in trouble. They can't do that. They can't make mistakes. They tend to make mistakes. I think if they do that, it's going to be a much, much closer game if they're not scoring. But I just think their defense is going to keep Arizona State out of the end zone. I don't see them. I just can't see them. Even though Scadaboo is going to get a lot of yards, I do believe he's going to get a lot of yards, but I don't think he's going to get yards in the end zone. That's where I'm at on it.
That's fair.
The only thing that has scared me about Texas for like the last 5 games, they get inside the red zone and it's almost like
They've been having a hard time.
Yeah,
they're stalling. They're stalling in the end zone.
It's like
in
he
the red
forgot
zone.
to bring that part of the playbook.
I know. I agree
And
with you there. I agree.
So he does shit like put Arch Manning in under center and does
Yeah,
really obvious
that stuff
weird
doesn't
runs.
necessarily make sense, but I think
But they never score inside the 20. The majority of their plays,
explosive.
They're long
explosive.
range. Yeah.
So, I mean, you limit those, or Texas gets in the red zone. Let's say they're running the ball really good. They're at the 18. What the fuck are they going to call? They might not have an answer. They might kick field goals. Like, that does actually bother me. Because they've done
They
that the
won't.
last
Not
5
against
weeks.
this team.
But this team is better than the teams they played the last 5
No,
weeks,
it's not.
minus Georgia.
No, their defense is not better than Clemson's defense. Is not. Arizona State's defense is not even close to as good as Clemson's defense.
You're reading too much papers.
I love it.
I
love
watch
it.
football.
I love it.
I know. I do too. I'm just telling you, Texas does scare me. If they're running really well, but they're getting stopped inside the 20, and then all of a sudden they have to figure out what to call. Sark looks like he's fucking lost. Like that has bothered me big time.
I think they'll be all right. All right.
I'm not saying they're going to lose, but
I agree.
a boat
They
race.
tend to make games
It's
a lot
going to be.
closer than they need to make them, unfortunately.
All right. Then I want to hear the scores now.
I'm 35. What did I say?
35-13
for me.
Medium G, what you got?
This one's tough, man. This is so divisive between all of us. I mean, Nick's last comment, Arizona State's in like the top 18 defense. I know who they played. Top 18. Clemson is at the bottom of the page. They're like 50th.
Yeah, because they started out horrible and then they figured it out and wrecked people down the.
You said they're better. You said they're better. I think again, this is. I think they're
all right. Give me your number. We said give you your number.
Texas wins. It's not just a bully situation where they're giving Arizona State a swirly and then they just walk out of the stadium and win. Like, I think it's a pretty decently close game. Texas wins by 10. I'll say 30-20.
Ooh, okay. Yes, that sounds good.
All right. I already argued my things. 42-10.
Whoa!
Texas. Go ahead.
When's
That's
the last
ridiculous.
time Texas scored over 30?
This year.
If
They
Texas
put up
loses,
49 on
because
Florida.
they all think that way. If the whole
I
team
know.
doesn't think they're 42-10 and everybody believes they're going to get
No,
they might
have not believed that until all these Arizona State guys open their mouths and give them some to actually put a chip on their shoulder.
Unfortunately,
Everybody
if they
talks
back
shit
it
to
up, that
Texas.
goes the other way. If Scadaboo backs it up in the first quarter,
I don't think he
that
will.
goes the other way.
I just don't think he will.
I'm going to say 28-17.
28-17.
But
I think you got to
It
look
actually
out for that
scares me.
receiver because everybody
Yeah.
talks about Scadaboo. That receiver they got's pretty good.
And the quarterback
Mark
is
my
good.
words. Watch him.
And could be good if their quarterback's on his ass.
If yours throws 2 picks, Texas loses.
No,
Tough cookie.
he
Tough
can throw
cookie
2
over
picks.
there.
They'll still win.
No, if
42-10, people.
Oh boy!
Will
all
you
right.
admit that Kewers? I'm not saying he needs to sit or anything, or I'm not doing that. I'm saying from a quarterback's perspective, you're really high on Ewers. I'm
do.
saying he's not I think he's not in the top 5 in college football.
Gary,
this
don't
year.
make him say anything. He's on the payroll. He's on the Dr. Pepper
I'm on
payroll.
zero
He
payroll.
can't say anything
Wait, do you
against
think
zero
he's
payroll.
a top 5 college football quarterback this year? Ewers.
Do I personally think that?
Yeah, you.
Stats wise, no.
No, just you.
Do I
Just-
think he could
you don't gotta
be?
tell
Yes.
me stats. You like what you see, and you. Think
I
he's one of the-
just told you. I mean, I kind of look at that's what I do. I look at the stats, look at all that stuff, right? So no, I don't. I wouldn't put him top 5 right now. Do I
Okay.
think he has the potential to be top 3? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think
He's got
everybody
a
thinks that
cannon.
way.
He's a good quarterback. He is unbelievable on medium range passes. He has a hard time down the field, and that's been killing him this year, right? And I don't think some of the play calling that's quick screens helps him at all.
Yeah.
Intermittent passing, middle of the field, medium range, 10 to 15 yards. He makes every single one of those throws. And the ones that got picked the past 2 weeks, look at them. They're deflections off wide receivers that go up in the air. So, yeah, he's got a pick on his stat line, but that's not on him. Okay? So, I get the game against Georgia in the championship game, he had 1 pick that was on him. The other pick went off Bond's hands, went in the air. The guy caught it, pick 6. You can't, what are you going to do? Right? So, you can't put that stuff on him.
Sure. I was curious where you stood on that. I'm glad that I just wanted to hear you admit because to me it's
This year,
objectively
no.
true. He's not in the top 5
This year, no. I would put,
to me.
I
I mean,
would
he may
put-
get drafted as a top 5 quarterback.
no, I honestly think he will go like 3rd or 4th round. And I think that's going to be the best possible situation for him.
Yeah.
Because then you don't have to be Caleb Williams on the Bears and have mashed potato brains by year 2. So that's where I'm at.
It wouldn't be year 2. He can't run, so he would get caught. And
40. He can't run because he has a bad ankle. 42-10, boys.
All right. We'll have to see how that works out.
All right. Now we can debate the fun games. Do we want to say? Do we want to do Notre Dame, Georgia first, or do you guys want to do Oregon, Ohio State first?
It doesn't matter.
Bunk, how about you pick?
Notre Dame.
All right. Well, you picked. You get to go now.
I think Notre Dame wins this one. I think that the quarterback on Georgia came in against Texas. Texas game planned for a different type of quarterback. Notre Dame knows who's going to be the quarterback coming in. I'm going to tell you, man, Notre Dame is stout. They got a hell of a defense. And I think their quarterback has enough. He's played for forever. He's been playing long enough that he's not going to make a lot of mistakes. They have good players. I think Georgia always keeps it close because they have a good team. And much as I'm not a Kirby Smart guy because he annoys the absolute shit out of me, but he is a good coach. God, I can't stand watching him on the sidelines. That man does not shut the frig up.
It's hard.
But
he's the poor man's John Gruden.
God, he's rough, man. But you know what? He gets him ready, and he is a good coach. I think Notre Dame, I think it's probably like a 4-point game. I think Notre Dame beats them, though.
I have to jump in here because you've been chiming in for 2 months now about Notre Dame's defense. I could not draw you up an easier last 8 games of the season for you to base their defense off of. Stanford, Georgia Tech, Navy, Florida State, Virginia, Army, and USC.
And they crushed them.
Christ.
They crushed them all.
Jesus Christ.
They didn't crush USC. They almost lost to USC.
They have a good defense, though.
They have good players when I watch them, but they beat Texas A&M the first week, had that horrible loss, and then everybody just forgot, and they played pretty much no one. I don't think they're as good as you say they are. I think they win. I think it's really almost impossible. It's legend status if you can bring in a backup quarterback in a playoff and win. It's just too hard. It's just way too hard.
The only thing,
Ohio State
but Georgia, I will say, Georgia has amazing running backs. So that is the one thing that even when their quarterback slows down, they can give it to ATN and man, they can kill you on the game on running. So
it's true.
You know,
it disrupts everything. The timing of the quarterback with the play actions, the way that Beck kind of manages everything's a little different. It just throws you off just a hair to where when you did complete that 3rd and 1, now you're like, oh, just a hair short. Like it just knocks you just that little bit that makes it hard. And especially in playoffs against a really good Notre Dame team. I'm not saying they're bad. They're a really good team. It's just you can't win. It's not a recipe for success.
It's gonna be hard.
There.
You're gonna be a believer in that defense after they play, though.
Well, this is where I believe if they can shut down Georgia, I'll finally agree with you. I think they give up. I think they give up at 24 at least.
Damn. Okay.
But they still win.
All right.
Here's my thought. Okay, after watching Notre Dame, they looked pretty damn good. Honestly, the 2 best teams in college football after last week looked like Notre Dame and Ohio State. Ohio State looked phenomenal. But anyways,
basing that
hang on here. We're not to that game. Here's what I'm saying. There's no better coach at seizing the maybe an inch of momentum and turning it into a mile than Kirby Smart. That man knows how to take momentum and win games with it. There's going to be momentum swings in this game. I don't trust Freeman with that, and I trust Kirby Smart with that. And Kirby Smart's defenses are good in playoff games, good down the stretch. So now the running game scares me for Notre Dame. Their running backs good, and their offensive line is geared to run. They're not the best at pass pro. They're really good at run blocking. If they get him going, man, it's going to be a really long night for that Georgia defense. But that Georgia defense hits really friggin' hard. We've seen it twice.
I don't know.
I mean, it wears down on people.
They were very gettable.
Yeah,
I think when they play to their full potential, they're very good, and they played to their full potential the 2 times I saw them.
Carson Beck, so they're already at 90%.
He doesn't play defense.
I think he would have
specifically defense?
Yeah, specifically defense.
Notre Dame's secondary is really good. Carson Beck,
they're very good. Their secondary is very good.
Might have been detrimental to Georgia. It might be better to have this kid that they
can run. He can run.
Yeah.
Now,
Because
does
Beck
he
would
still
throw
have that concussion from Makuba? That's the question. Because man, he took a shot
he doesn't.
in that
God,
championship game.
Destroyed.
He's wrapped.
No, I know he's fine, but my God,
they've
man,
had weeks to prepare now. The
does that
backup
turn into
quarterback, does he
ghosts
know
in
the
your
full
mind, though?
Playbook?
Yeah, he's been there for a while.
So
Nick was telling me.
Just Notre Dame has let me down so many times in the past. Just in general, I lean towards Georgia just because of Kirby Smart. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Wow.
I lean a little bit more towards Georgia. If this was like a money, I think the money line's like 1.5. If I was betting money on it, it's a straight toss up, and I'd keep my money and not put a dime on this game because it could go either way. It's going to be whoever seizes the momentum.
It'll be a good game.
Well, I think Notre Dame has momentum already. They're walking into that game with momentum from last week. It's not like it was a tight game that they got beat up in.
No, they crushed
them.
They railroaded Signetti, though.
That doesn't matter. They beat. Look,
that playoff team. They were very good. Indiana was very good this year.
And Notre Dame came in ready and looked ready, and they shit on them. And they're walking into this Georgia game with that already, with their heads up. Georgia's been, like Gary said, you come out slow on a team that can run the ball like Notre Dame can run. That could be really gross in the first half. Frazier, Etienne is a good back. I don't care about the quarterback. If Frazier gets going, Georgia would be hard to beat. But if they can stop the run, even slow it down and make that guy pass on third and medium, with that secondary that Notre Dame has, I think they're going to lock him up.
Here's a question. How important will special teams be in this game particularly?
As big as it is in every game.
It feels like this is like there's going to be a big punt that puts somebody on the 1, and that's going to be a huge moment. It feels like there's going to be a big kickoff return to create, because I think both these defenses are going to beat up both offenses fairly. The run games on both teams are really good. Can Riley Leonard throw? Hit or miss sometimes, but he's a good quarterback. He can run, though.
I think he can throw.
He can
I
run.
Would say yes.
He can throw.
He can run. This other kid is an unknown, so you can't bet on him. But Kirby Smart, man. To bet on Kirby Smart.
The good thing for Notre Dame is they don't have to worry about the other quarterback. They can just say, we will stop the run. And if they have to throw, our secondary will handle it. Because Georgia's receivers aren't like all
No, they're not. They're not. No.
Notre Dame's secondary could lock it down, make that kid throw, and third and mediums, like keep forcing him into third and medium, third and long. I mean, if Frazier is Frazier ruined Texas.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if Frazier gets going like that, that'll be tough. But I think Love and Leonard are going to run on Georgia's defense. Like they will get it done.
As long as they get to the outside.
I disagree.
They have to get to the outside.
I don't think Georgia's strong. They're not as strong as they used to be.
Not this year.
They definitely can be run on.
Now, Kirby might run on the field as a DB like he did that.
I don't see them winning the national championship, but I see them winning this game. Personally, I see them winning this game.
I don't see them winning this game. I think they've played a lot of close. There's some teams that honestly should have beat them earlier in the year. Teams can run on them. Their defense is not as strong as it used to be. I give it. Kirby Smart's a good coach. I think Notre Dame. I think this is Notre Dame's year to get to the championship.
All right then? What's your number?
27-20, Notre Dame.
27-20. All right.
I'm going to get nuts on this one. I'm going to go 31-17.
Oh my God.
I like it.
We were just talking about the defenses.
I think Notre Dame catches them early. And Leonard, I think, can throw.
Okay.
I think he can throw on Georgia.
All right. Medium G, what you got?
Notre Dame hasn't been punched in the mouth since week 5 at Louisville. They were ranked 15th at the time. They barely won 31-24. Since then, nothing. They played USC, but USC isn't that great.
They beat the shit out of Army. They crushed Army.
They sure did. Army's not Georgia. I think they might start a little slow or whatever, but it doesn't matter because they'll win based on my last statement that it's too hard to overcome replacing your quarterback in the postseason. Right now, Georgia's trying to make sure he knows all the play, can hit everything, building on what he does best and trying to build a package around that instead of building on Carson Beck and what he's already accomplished the past 13 games of the year 14. So I think it's just too much. I think that Notre Dame wins 27-24.
Nice.
Okay. I'm going to say that this is his 5th year in the Georgia system. He might not have played. He walked on. I get that. But he's been around that playbook for 5 years now. They haven't changed. So he knows it. I don't think they have to change too much of the game plan. I do think it comes down to, it really does come down to, I think, who's going to make the bigger special teams plays. But I'm saying 14-10 Georgia.
Oh my gosh.
Grotesque.
Wow.
They're going to just
the center.
Even if you pick Georgia, that's not enough points.
14-10.
All right.
That guy doesn't know the playbook. He doesn't remember anything.
Not right now. Not after that Makuba hit.
He drives an 81 Chevy pickup, for crying out loud. I saw it.
Oh, cool. Is it on eBay?
I had that thing on him.
All right.
Somewhere Musburgers looking in those baby blues.
Played in the dirt. West Texas. All right, last game here, big game. I think this is probably the biggest game.
Media-wise, yeah.
Media-wise, for sure. But we do have Oregon and Ohio State in the rematch in the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl. So I guess I haven't really started on any of these. I can start this one. I've seen Will Howard in big games when he was at K-State. Different offense around him. I get that, but he choked a lot. He made a lot of great plays for Kansas, but
He's
he did
a different quarterback this year.
He is a different quarterback. I get you. I get that, but he had 4 years at Kansas State where we saw him choke in big games. So I don't know. Like,
Sure.
He could revert. I think Oregon just scores too many damn points. They score so fast. And it's once it piles up on you, once you're like against that wall, they have you. I just think Oregon's gonna. It's tight. I think if Oregon pulls out quick and scores really, really fast the first couple drives, which we've seen them do, it's gonna be too much for Ohio State to keep up with. Ohio State has no chance in a shootout. No chance. They have to slow this game down, run the ball with Junkins, and play smash mouth a little bit to keep this game closer. I believe it was 43-42, the game in Eugene when they played earlier in the year. Granted, it was pretty early in the year, but it's not, I don't know if we get to the 40s, either team, to be honest
Well,
with
if you will remember, Ohio State won that game.
Ohio State lost that game.
No, they won the game. There was that big kerfuffle at the end, and then Lanning took advantage of that loophole, which they closed. They made a ruling on it.
But that was that's part of it, though.
No, I'm not saying it's cheap. I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah,
I'm saying that Ohio State was going to go score and win the game, and because of unforeseen circumstances, they didn't.
If the Ohio State team we saw just dismantle Tennessee's comes out, nobody's beating that team.
I disagree. I think Oregon is miles better than they were the first time they played.
Yes, and their offense is, for sure.
Penn State, I don't think anybody could have beat Penn State in that conference championship game except Oregon. I don't think Ohio State would have come close against
that Ohio
Penn
State
State's
team
defense.
we saw last week would. That Ohio State team we saw last week was
the Penn State.
They were unreal.
The Big Ten conference championship said everything I needed to see about Penn State and Oregon. Penn State looked like the second best team in the country by a lot. And Oregon Dylan Gabriel is automatic. No hesitation. The guy moves in the pocket and makes a decision. Accurate downfield. Their running back can move.
Deadly accurate. Fast, too. Fast. He has one of the fastest throwing arms I've seen in a long time.
It is fast, yeah.
He doesn't,
really
but he doesn't hesitate. So if the pocket breaks down, he steps out to his right. If he doesn't see something, he goes. There's literally no thinking involved. He is so automatic right now. I don't think Oregon is going to let it be close. And I absolutely think they can put up 40.
What a great look for the Big Ten. I mean, you talk about where we're just kind of ragging on Indiana. You got the three stalwarts at the top minus Michigan, just off year for Michigan. So if you did have four Michigan, that'd be great. But Oregon, Ohio State, and Penn State looking all really, really good. What a great look for the Big Ten.
Yeah, they're a strong conference. I'm the anti-Oregon guy, but I think Oregon wins going away in this one. I just don't. I think they score.
They're playing in Pasadena, Rose Bowl.
At the Rose Bowl.
Yeah. I think Oregon scores in the 40s. I think Ohio State's going to struggle to keep up with them. That's I mean, Oregon doesn't have the greatest defense in the world, but they're fast, man, and they score a lot of points. I think they're going to be tough to beat. I think Ohio State had a great game. They were phenomenal at home in the cold. It's a whole different story when you go out west. I don't think they hang with them. I think Lanning's a better coach than Ryan Day too.
I do too.
Ooh, that's a big statement.
I do too.
How
I'm
do
with you
figure
there.
That one. Before I give my take, you got to explain that to me.
I just think the way he's got the team going, I think his play calling, I think, the personnel he puts out there. Ryan Day is a good coach, but I think it's a traditional Ohio State, he hasn't, there's nothing.
So you're putting a lot of eggs in he didn't beat Michigan basket.
No, but I'm just saying, there's nothing exciting they do. They play regular football, but they have really good players. And I think, to me, Oregon's more creative, and they have a lot more playmakers. So and Dylan Gabriel, he's good, man.
Yeah, he's really.
I mean,
I think I texted you guys in that Penn State game. I was like, dude, it's going to take a lot to beat this. This was like in the second possession.
Yeah,
because it was like, wow, I hadn't seen a quarterback play like that all year long.
They play
on any team, not just against Penn State.
He's accurate. Game. They play fast.
It reminded me of what Penix did to Texas last year in the playoffs.
And they've, you know what? I would say it would maybe not. I would maybe change my tune a little bit, but they've already played each other. They already know what Ohio State has. Ohio State, same way. So I think there's more playmakers at Oregon. And I'm not I've been talking crap about Oregon, but I think they win this one. I'm not going to say easily, but I think they win it. And I don't think it's, like down to the last minute or anything.
I mean, Oregon's not giving up a ton of points, even with that 40 whatever point game to Ohio State. They only give up like less than 20 points a game.
Yeah,
they're
Penn
still
State put the most
10.
on the year by a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, they're still a top 10 defense, and they might not be like stout up front, but those guys all hit. Like, you're talking about people that fly. Dan Lanning has his team absolutely fucking flying on defense. So they might give up points, but it's not, I mean, with that offense, the way it's clicking, the defense is going to come out absolutely stoked. And Dan Lanning, I agree,
he's very good.
A way better coach than Day. And he has the mentality of a team. Like,
yeah.
He has the mentality of a guy that wants to go rip somebody's fucking head off. My
thought between those two coaches is Ryan Day is like an extremely cerebral, smart dude. He's very much into like the analysts, whatever, and he's very much paralysis by analysis. He kind of shoots himself in the foot by overthinking every aspect of every game, and that's just magnified when he plays Michigan, so he loses to Michigan. He turns that game into not just another game. He turns it into like life or death, and that's a problem. This isn't Michigan, right? So is he going to shoot himself in the foot in a spot where he's going to go with the analytics instead of his gut, where Lanning, that dude's all feel. He's just making calls off of feel, and which is awesome. And I think Lanning is a great coach. But it's hard to say. He's been there for 2 years. He's been a head coach, or 2 or 3 years. Ryan Day has been winning 10 to 11 games every single year for like 8 years.
Every year.
He only loses to one team. He only loses to Michigan. He beats the shit out of everybody else.
Yep.
So it's hard to bet against that, because I think he is a very good coach. And I honestly, hot take, think he's going to take an NFL job after this year because he's sick of hearing about Michigan.
Oh, he'll be a terrible NFL coach, though.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with with the coaching thing.
Yeah. Well, who do you think takes the game?
You young bucks.
We're going to get there. We're going to get Medium G needs to give us his take now.
Yeah, you guys have been in the game for too few of years. 2004 was my first year on the campus of Penn State. And ever since then, I learned about Ohio State. You guys got a lot of learning to do. Postseason Ohio State is Megatron, dude. You don't beat them. They turn into a suit. They're like when all the Transformers get together. That's what it is. The Megazord. You saw him against Tennessee. You saw Ryan Day's attitude on the sidelines. Holy shit, dude. That guy is pissed off.
The mascara is coming off, baby.
He is coming in hot, man. And you saw Tennessee. I'm telling you, you don't mess with Ohio State in postseason. They win. I think
Tennessee's a good team, and they got dismantled.
They're fine.
Not what you said earlier in the year.
There is no team. There is no team in the past 10 years in maybe Alabama and Georgia. Clemson, maybe, was that 10 years ago? I mean, they are up on that level of just a step above. And I have to see Oregon do that. They should have lost to Ohio State the first time. I think Ohio State only gets better at the Michigan game. Is you get irrelevant. You just throw that out. That doesn't even count for Ohio State. That's just a speed bump. They're going to win. They might even win the whole thing. They win by 10.
Wow.
I'm super confident, but based on the way they look, I've seen Ohio State operate for a long time to my detriment at Penn State. They just are on another level when it comes to postseason football.
Interesting take.
Plus, I'll leave you with this, and this is why I feel so strongly. It's not just because of the Ohio State brand. Ohio State is the number one defense, allowing 240 yards per game. It's ridiculous. That's the most by a lot. Oregon is also up there in like the top 10. But passing, 141 yards a game they're allowing at Ohio State. We didn't bring up any Oregon running backs. It's going to all be in the air and the receivers. They have good running backs.
No, they have a phenomenal running back.
Yeah, they do. But we didn't mention them because we all said the running game. Or
Dylan Gabriel throwing
141. That's 35 yards less than anybody else in the country this year.
How many yards did Oregon have on them?
I don't know.
I think they went to overtime, though.
Doesn't
but
matter.
They should have lost the game. It was 31-32.
Yeah. Dylan Gabriel looked at the end of the year. You can't really compare those two games. I don't think. I think Gabriel will have 300 yards passing in this one.
Oh, I think
the passing's where it comes down to.
I think
Ohio State's secondary is better than Penn State's, hands down. It's better. I can't argue that. So it's going to be a lot harder for them. I forget that guy's name, Tig or Bryant. What was his name? He torched Penn State for like 200 yards. He's not
Tez Bryant or Tez Johnson. Tez Johnson and Evan Stewart are there, which are two phenomenal wide receivers.
They won't do that against Ohio State. Their secondary is just classically so elite. You can't do that.
Interesting.
All right, Medium G, give me your numbers then. You said by 10. What are the two
Ohio
scores?
State wins this. I do think you're not going to stop either of these teams from scoring. It's going to be another in the 30s. I'll say, I said by 10, but realistically, I'm going to say 38 to 34.
38-34.
Ohio State, right? Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
I thought you said by 10.
Yeah, I know. I was just saying they win, kind of where it wasn't close. But I mean, the more you think it's a playoff game, I got to squeeze it in there.
Okay, so you said 38-34?
Yep.
Okay. Who wants to go next?
I got Oregon 35-31.
Oh. All right, I'll go next. I'm saying less than you guys think. I just think Ryan Day is going to do a good job scheming, plus with the two coordinators that he has that are, let's face it, amazing coordinator. Chip Kelly and their defensive coordinator are amazing.
Yeah.
They're better. Better coordinators than what Oregon has at coordinator. I think just over longevity, whatever. I'm saying 24-28, Ohio State.
Oh,
well, you changed your tune. Get over here, Nick. You know what it's all about.
No, I know. God. I watched that team last week do what they did to Tennessee. I watched Tennessee beat a lot of very good teams this year.
It's a real thing.
It's not that Ohio State team. There's a reason they're saying it's a $22 million roster, because it is. They bought studs across every position.
So did Miami.
No, they did not spend
$20 million.
They did not spend.
They spent $20 million.
Well,
and it all went to Cam
Let's even this out. Who you got, Big G?
Oh, you guys are crazy. Like, Dylan Gabriel is lights out. I cannot see them finding a way to shut him down for the whole game. Just so you know, he had 341 yards against them the first meeting. And
they won by 1 point and should have lost based on technicality and rules. So he could throw for 10,000.
I don't care about the outcome. 340 yards. They rushed for 155.
Sure.
They're better now than they were then. I'm going to say 42-28.
Oh, my God.
I like you.
Oregon blowout? That ain't happening, buddy.
Fly, ducks, fly.
Nobody's blowing out Ohio State. Nobody.
Nope.
Nobody.
I'm with Gary on this.
I think Howard throws at least 2 picks.
Maybe.
No.
I think Howard throws 2 picks. But those 2 picks are the difference right there in the score.
I don't think it'll matter, because I think Judkin's going to go off.
Penn State
scored a shitload of points.
No, they didn't.
They
scored like 14 points.
The second against Penn State in the championship game,
like 10 points maybe. It was less than 2 touchdowns.
The adjustment that Penn State's defense made was pretty amazing.
Well, what's on tape?
That's on tape. I know. I get you.
I mean, Ohio State takes advantage of all these. You know what? 38-28. Ohio State.
Oh, man.
Oh,
I'm going back to the 10. I
Jumped the shark. Shark jumper.
He big boyed us.
He's a shark jumper. He's a shark jumper.
All right. Well, everyone listen up next week when we're horribly wrong about every single one of these games.
If I could just throw in one thing here.
Throw it.
Texas is not about the Ohio State Oregon matchup, but if I were Texas, I would be crapping my pants because you do not want to face Ohio State or Oregon. That is scary.
Okay, you want to win it. You want to win it all. You got to beat those teams.
Yeah, you got to beat them, but you want to get to the championship. Hopefully, like Penn State's path is a lot easier than Texas's. If they make it to the championship and they play Ohio State or Oregon, I mean, even if they lose, who gives a shit? They made it to the national championship, so
hot take.
I would not want to face them in the semis.
Hot take. Penn State Texas national championship game. My friend.
Like it.
God, that would be insane.
We're not friends that week.
We're gonna go to it.
We're not even brothers. You tempt me with a good time over there, big dog.
It's in Atlanta, right?
It's in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it on my couch.
Yeah.
They will not. They will. They still won't let the Texas mascot go to the game, which is hilarious.
Because it's hot Atlanta.
Because he almost killed that ugly ass bulldog a few years ago.
Good stuff. That's good.
That is good. Very heated debates. I love it. Big G makes some wild accusations about people.
Explain the wild accusation.
I just wanted to see your face when I said that.
Oh my God.
It worked, everybody. I got him.
Numbers on paper saying who's going to win. Like
I watch with my eyeballs. Football games.
Oh my God. You do the eyeball test? Fuck.
You want me to look at the paper or you want me to watch the games?
Ocular pat down.
All right. So before we go anywhere, this was a pretty fun conversation we had earlier. I want to get Bunk didn't really chime in on this, and I'd love to get Medium G's. Me and Big G were talking about structure of the playoff, right? What would you change, if anything, about this? And I'd love to hear everybody. I mean, we got to get it recorded what you had said because I thought it was very good. Yeah, go ahead.
I really like the 12. I think that's a really nice number to get in. I would get rid of the conference champion equal seeding. And I just have it go to the top 12. Just be an open, who's the top 12? For me, that would be a lot better. I know that opens the door to the SEC getting Bama in, even though they finished like 12th in the conference. But I would like to see it open or have a little bit more clear rules. How are you going to have conferences and leave one out? 4 of the top 5. Include all 5 then. Either include all 5 or get rid of it.
But there aren't 5 anymore. There's 4 power conferentions now.
What didn't it say? So what was the rules? Maybe
it's the 5, the top highest rated 5 conference champions get in. The 4 highest rated conference champions get buys.
Okay. Well, that's super confusing.
Yep.
Yeah. So they need to fix whatever they need to fix there. The issue was the seeding got all messed up. It led to really unfavorable matchups, not for like media marketing stuff, but it just didn't seem like the right, like Texas and Clemson didn't seem right to me. It should have been, I don't know. It should have just been Indiana and Clemson, or I don't know how they could work that out, but for the lower seeded teams, I think that they need to kind of earn their way in, but then who does Texas play? So there's issues there. But the biggest thing I want to see changed is the home field advantage. I want to see the Fiesta and the Rose and the Orange all go back down to the Bowls. And I want to see home field advantage until the championship game, and they can rotate a championship between all the NFL stadiums. Because watching Notre Dame, watching Penn State, watching Texas, that is college football. It doesn't get any more college football than that. And why are we taking it away and going to a dome in Arizona on a neutral site? I don't like that. I want to see it. Even boys, we'll go to play on the blue turf. We'll play on the blue turf on New Year's Day, and it'll be 1 degree. That's college football. I want to see it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't like the immediately go. Well, so the teams that got to buy almost get a penalty because they don't get to play at home. So I would like to, I agree with you. I think they should be home, and then maybe play the championship on a neutral field. But
yeah, pick like Atlanta or something. They rotate them around.
Yeah. Because, look at we're just talking about Ohio State and Oregon. They're going to play out west in the Rose Bowl. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of an advantage for Oregon, a huge advantage. Right? I mean, number one, they don't have to travel. But, Ohio State's been playing in, freaking cold weather and snow and whatever else for a while. It's just different. And it's probably going to be fairly warm out there, too. So I agree with you. I'd like to see more home games, and then I don't have a problem with the teams that got in. I mean, they got in, they earned their way in. I would rather have the teams that got in be in than them trying to justify getting a 3-loss Alabama in just because they think they're better than everybody. Because you don't know that until they play. And when there was 4 teams, there were blowouts. So I don't think you can't. I know they're going to go, and I know they're going to change it. So that 8-3 friggin' Bama team is going to get in next year, which they shouldn't. They just didn't deserve to get in. I like seeing other teams in it, whether they win or not. I think it's still good for college football.
Yeah, it's always the best for football when you can get. People are going to complain about Indiana. And I was complaining about how they played, not them getting in, because the schedule that they played, they won. They deserve to get in. That's the end of the story for me.
Yep.
But SMU had a fantastic season. If their quarterback, we didn't talk about this. If their quarterback didn't look like he got hit by a freaking truck,
yeah, he looked.
They would have been
like
in
a deer in
That
headlights.
guy
Man.
was not ready for that moment, and the whole team
good.
suffered because of it.
Yeah.
Like I honestly don't even know how good they are because the guy sucked that bad. To be honest, and it's terrible. I don't want to say that about him, but he did.
So
It was so bad.
I can't wait for this because I think Big G is completely opposite from what you had thought earlier and said get rid of the home games at home and play them on neutral sites, right?
I think if they're going to have this much subjectivity where there's a committee picking teams based on their own bullshit and marketing, then the home field advantage will always get used against lesser teams. So,
but it's the higher. Well,
no, because the rankings are subjective. So Alabama was still ranked in the top 14, 11th with 2 really bad losses, 2 gross losses. They were
an abysmal loss.
Hey, no. They said that Oklahoma was a quality loss, even though they lost the Navy. So don't forget that.
Yeah. So
I see.
The problem is if the ranking is subjective, and the committee that picks the playoff teams is subjective, then they're going to have an Alabama play a fucking Boise State at home in Tuscaloosa, even though the Boise State team might have been ranked a little higher, because they're going to mix it up in the end. The committee will always make it favored towards the bigger money conferences. And honestly, this year, the Big Ten backed up every fucking little bit of the hype that they got. Their teams legitimately look the best. That is the best conference.
Top
the top of the stack. Yes.
Bottom of the Big Ten was really, really bad.
Pretty bad. It was pretty bad this year. Overall, I would give it to SEC as the best conference.
Tennessee. I don't know where you got this thing that I was high on them all year.
Wow, we're going to go back to earlier podcasts, my friend.
Nico couldn't hit long ball. Like, they had problems all year. I don't think they even should have been the other team. I mean, if you're going off who's hot, then that should have been South Carolina. If they really
but they had 2 losses.
They had 3
South Carolina had 3 losses.
All to top
10 Tennessee had 2. All the top 10 teams.
But what I'm saying is, if you're going off the eyeball test and subjectivity, South Carolina was the clear choice. Would have been a much better game.
No, I'm personally against the subjectivity part.
Right. I mean, I still stick with what I said before. If they want it, nobody has a problem with the fucking NFL. Have 10 conferences. I know it might suck initially, but it'll even out if every conference knows that they're going to get a champion to play in the playoff.
If they have a path into the playoff, that's the only way you could do that.
That's what I mean. So it's a top 10,
a guaranteed
and
path.
have 10 or whatever. But right now the SEC has 16 teams. The Big 10 has 18.
There's so many. Yeah.
You can't say a conference is good when you can't pick somebody and nobody plays everybody. It's not a fair mix. So it's 2 conferences. It's 2 separate bullshits. I mean, it's all marketing hype. I disagree with all of it. If they should if they want this to work kind of the way they have it, get rid of preseason rankings. Don't rank till like week 5 and make it based on, whatever. By then you'll kind of have an idea of maybe strength of schedule because everybody's played 5 games,
Yeah.
So you could have a more
that's
accurate.
The biggest problem I have in all of sports, Craig, is that preseason rank. I hate it to my core.
That's why
it messes everything up, and it's messing the playoffs up too.
That's
because
why
when you put Alabama
stuck around.
1, you've never seen them play their number 1.
Yeah,
they can afford to lose 2 and still be in it.
Yep. I mean,
that's not right.
They should push, but the money, right? they make a lot of money off their bullshit ranking stuff, and it never. I mean, it doesn't.
But at the end
out.
of the day, this is what I want. This is what you want. This is what a normal fan wants. We just want a level playing field. We want the teams who win to get in. But it's never going to be that way because the media is always going to influence it. Just the same way they did the Heisman. We don't got to talk about the Heisman too. Genty to me there hasn't been a more clear Heisman in like 10 years. It was the most obvious choice for Heisman ever in all the years I've been watching it. But the media attention and Dion and all ESPN and all the writers get attracted to a guy just like they do each team in the preseason rankings and stuff. And they get involved and they muddy the thing up. And the NCAA they just die. They let people walk all over them. They're such a corrupt organization. Yeah. They don't care. They could step in and say no rankings. Don't rank my teams. They don't because it's all about money to them.
Yeah. Yeah,
for sure.
I agree. Like that's it. And I'm a Texas fan. I would love for Texas to win the national championship. But if Arizona State somehow pulls it off, that's legitimately better for college football. 100% just because it proves if Boise State were to win against Penn State and Arizona State beats Texas, I know everybody will say that Texas is overrated.
They're just going to say it's a one-off, though.
But the problem, unfortunately, they will. But really, the reality is that's how far college football has come in evening the playing field with athletes, you know? So, I mean, Iowa State just beat Miami in a bowl game. And I know they didn't play everybody, but whatever.
Miami was killing Iowa State in that first half, and then he opted out of the second half, and it got over quick.
Okay, but if it's one person, you know what I'm saying?
Like, no, but that's why they left out Florida State last year, because of one person.
Yeah, but that's also bullshit.
It is.
So what I'm saying is
the most bullshit.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, it is.
They would have picked
that was so
they would have picked Alabama to beat Vandy and to beat Oklahoma.
Oh my God,
they would have picked Notre Dame to beat Northern Illinois. I mean, you have to play the game. So I'd rather
for sure.
If they're going to stick with this, I think, like Gary said, the preseason ranking fucks everything up at the end of the season. Get rid of it until the 5th or 6th week.
Yeah, I agree. That'd be
or whenever
strategy.
they start conference play or something after 3 weeks. I don't care what it is. It just can't be a month before the season.
Yeah, because the guys on the bottom, it's really hard to move up, and the guys on top, it's hard to knock them down.
Yeah, the people who are ranked 15 or below can afford probably one loss, maybe 25 and below. One loss is all you get.
Yeah.
And everybody else who nobody's even touched a football against another team, they can afford 2. That's not right.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I just want them to create some sort of like something that's objective, right? Somehow mix because it is completely subjective here. I mean, there's most of the time the people that are watching in the committee, how much football are they watching throughout the year? They're too busy. They're not watching every single one of these teams play every single one of their games. What do you use to kind of get a look at what those teams are doing? You use the stats, which sometimes those can lie to you as well. And I 100% admit that. I do look at the stats a lot.
That would be the worst thing to happen.
Yeah, that would be. No, I'm not saying that, but they need to create objectivity somehow. Something needs to be objective.
Why don't they just go off?
And the NFL model, like you said, is the objective way to do it.
I mean, an 8-8 team can get in the playoffs in the NFL and make a run. It just fucking can't happen.
Now, there's way more parity in talent level in the NFL because every single one of those guys was the best in college on every single one of those teams. Some of the best that were the best in college don't make the NFL teams because they're so goddamn polished and good. The whole thought of like these mega college teams would be able to beat a pro team, Jacksonville would shit on every single one of these teams they're playing. You know what I mean? Like the friggin' Giants would too. You can't compare them. So those 8-8 teams won't make the same runs those 8-8 NFL teams do. They just don't match up the same.
Today.
But they would have a chance.
In a couple of years they would because every conference would know we have somebody that can get in.
You know how you keep that parity? Create revenue share where everybody's on the same playing field with money, and that's never going to happen. There's huge brands in football will never let that happen. Texas is one of them.
You're creating a professional league under the professional league. The NFL would never let that. The NCAA they would never let that.
No, and Texas is throwing $22 million out a year. Do you think they want to stop doing that? No, of course not. That's why this whole revenue share thing is hitting roadblocks because they want to get rid of these collectives. But those collectives are the reason these big teams are getting good players. There's a reason Texas can go into Florida and get people. Let's be honest about it.
it's money.
hey, we're Texas. You're going to play big games. You're going to be on TV. We got coaches that'll get you in the NFL, and I can give you $3 million. Like, of course, it's money.
It's
you think
ridiculous.
those Florida guys, like Jarrett Gibson, came to Texas because of the money? He's a legacy to the University of Florida. He came to Texas because of the money and the running back coach. So, I mean, I don't, that 8-8 team, unless they figure out a way to even the playing field with money, it'll never ever those 8. That's just a fantasy that those teams will make a run to win 5 games in a row against big teams. They just won't. They won't. Boise State can win this game, but they're not going to win the next one.
Why?
Because they're going to get beat to shit on this game.
Georgia.
You know what I mean, though. Like,
I'd see. What
let's
you
say
mean.
SMU makes a run. SMU's roster is not the same as everybody else's roster. SMU deserved to be in that game they were in. They have a very good team. They beat Penn State. They won't win this week.
Yeah.
They might win this week. They won't win the week after. They're not winning 4 in a row. There's no way.
You can't. I mean, if you say that, I do. This is the last thing I say. I wrote in the chat. I got to drop because Olivia's pretty sick. So I'm going to say this and then get off. You can't say that about SMU and then just afford Ohio State a pass.
I'm not
These are all
affording
the
them a
same
pass.
age kids. I understand they're a different athlete in terms of how fast, how big, how strong. It's a difference. I know that. But you can't just look at a school and say, there's a brand, you go over here. Here's a brand, you go over there. You have to give people a chance.
No, I'm with
have
you.
to.
Take the A off Alabama's helmet and put them in it.
But
that's
you're
a Cinderella
leaning towards they
story.
can't
There's
win
no
5 in a
friggin'
row.
way they would win 5. That
Boise
Alabama team
that
would
beat
win
Oklahoma
5.
8 years ago, 18, whatever, the 20 years ago, they could have beat everybody that year.
But you
if
put
they had a chance in the playoff, they could have won it all.
No.
There's been a lot of teams like that. It's not going to be every year.
They had
every
to run
5 years
they had to
we might
run
see it.
6 trick plays to win that game.
But they won.
They did win. Those
Doesn't matter.
6 trick plays are now on tape. They go to the next week. They're not winning that game. They're not. They're not going to surprise anyone.
Nick,
that's how they won. They won
game.
that game by surprising them with trick plays, right?
You're doing
I'm just
the complete
saying.
same thing as all the sports writers that I hate so much.
You
You're
can
already
hate it.
taking teams out of the
No, I'm
picture.
not taking. I'm taking. Okay, listen to this. Take brands out of it. Look at rosters. That Alabama roster this year, no fucking way they win 5 in a row to win the national. There's no way. There's absolutely no way.
Says who?
Says me. That roster is not winning. The team that we saw
says
all
Nick
year
Amato.
says Nick Amato. We saw all year doesn't win 4 in a row. They're not.
How about
That would
it
be the
really
Cinderella
hard,
story
or it
of
would be very
Cinderella story.
unlikely.
Okay, I'm not
But the
saying
words
there's
you use
okay.
of
I
they
guess
they can never do
I
it.
just
They can.
I just don't think that those teams they're going to take the physical toll it takes on a team when you don't have a 2 deep that's as physical and fast as the rest of the teams in there. You're just not. I mean, I just don't see it happen. Right? Maybe your ones are just as good, but your 2s aren't.
It's hard to do.
Somebody gets hurt, you're done.
These are the same age kids. For the most part, they're the same size. They're the same people. I
argue they're not the same size.
And you're saying
not.
like they're going to break their necks coming down the line. Like,
That's because
they're football players. They may not
they are
win
football
the game.
players.
They may not win the game. Maybe it's a runaway game. Maybe it's a blowout. But if you don't change the way you talk like you're talking, then college football will continue to be this same mess that it's in.
Well, I
You
think
have to
college
Sam
football's
Houston.
going to.
If Sam Houston goes 12-0, they deserve to be in the
Yes,
playoff.
no,
I
I'm
don't
with you
care
on
what
that.
conference they're in.
I'm not saying that they don't deserve to be in. I'm not saying that at all.
He
But
says
you're
they have.
saying
no
I'm
they
chance.
saying-
deserve to be in, but they'll never
just
win
have no
Like,
Yeah,
chance.
exactly. They're not going to win 4 in a row. They deserve to be there. They earned that spot. There's a like 0.01% chance
this is my
they would.
actual last thing because Olivia's looking at me. They will never win if you don't afford them the opportunity to. Like if,
They
if
have the
everyone-
opportunity
this
right
is not
now.
you personally, I'm just saying. But Nick, I'm
They
not saying
have
every. I'm saying every 6 years, a team is going to go on a run and make the Final Four or whatever we want to call it when they get to the semis. And 2 years later, maybe a team gets to the group of 8. Like it's going to happen one day. A team like an SMU is going
I'm
to
with
win the
you.
national championship.
They're not going to win the national championship unless
one
they
day it will.
construct
I'm talking about
their
over like
2 deep.
200 years. It will. It'll happen.
Okay. All right. And on that day, my friend, you call me.
We'll be right here talking about it.
Yep.
Well, when Arizona State puts up a fight, buddy,
They could.
On silent because I'm coming in hot this week. You better be hoping they blow
I
out.
cannot
Arizona.
wait.
We'll all be together, my friend. We'll be
wait.
watching it together here.
Yeah, we will. I'll still text you sitting next to you.
Oh my God.
Bring the stash, Big G.
Okay,
Bring your
I'm
stash.
leaving.
All right.
It was
All
a
right.
pleasure.
All right. Thank you so much there, Medium G.
All right.
All right.
Talk to you later.
That's enough of that. Let's get to Pop's favorite sport,
What are we talking?
NFL.
That's your favorite?
NFL is my favorite. Baseball's my
Baseball's
favorite.
your favorite, but baseball's kind of not much. I mean, Corbin Burns moved. He went to Arizona.
Not
That was
much
it.
going on.
There's nothing.
Gleyber
going on.
Torres signed.
Gleyber
with,
Torres signed with the Detroit.
Detroit.
That's it.
Ricky Henderson.
Ricky Anderson died.
Passed away. Yep. Yeah, there's not much going on in
There's
baseball.
not much going on in baseball. Dead period.
NFL, we almost have everything set. I
We
think
almost
the
have
only
everything
thing
set.
that's not set is Tampa Bay and Atlanta.
No, my friend. The one seed.
Well, I'm just saying getting in. I know the one seeds and all that crap. But
Whoever wins that game next week or this coming week on between the
but they're-
Vikings and the Lions get the one seed.
But they're all in.
They
is
are
what
in.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
So Tampa Bay won. Atlanta got beat last minute.
Atlanta's out.
They're not out because if Tampa Bay loses next week and Atlanta wins, Atlanta's in.
No, I'm pretty sure. Doesn't Tampa have the head-to-head? No?
Atlanta does.
Okay.
So there's that's the only opening left. And then
Miami needs to lose to get the Bengals in.
So if Denver loses and Miami wins, actually, it's unbelievably, Miami's in.
Yeah. Miami has to lose, and the Bengals are in.
That's correct. And
Denver has to lose.
And Denver has to lose.
And Denver's playing Kansas City, who I believe is sitting everybody.
They pretty much said if you have a hangnail,
Well,
we're
they're just
sitting
going to
you.
sit them. I don't blame
Yeah.
them. They don't need to. There's nothing else to prove.
Right.
But going back to what we were talking about earlier, if they sit those guys, I was reading, they'll have a 23-day wait until they play again. Maybe in the pros, I don't think it matters.
Chiefs
as
are a
much.
little different story.
I'm going to say the pros
think
probably
it's
don't.
different.
I
Yeah.
mean, but I do think there's some rust there. Although I think they could probably use the rest. The pro guys, they're pretty
Travis
beat up.
Kelce looked like he was running at like half speed.
I think
in that
they're
game last week.
I think
They're all
I think they're
hurting.
Yeah. But I don't think. I mean, then we can talk about the Giants who screwed themselves by winning.
Yes, that was great. Yes, everybody.
What did he say?
Every Giants fan is so mad at Drew Lock right now.
Yeah.
Thanks, Drew Lock, for screwing us out of Sanders.
One time they put up 42 points or something.
Dude, nobody's going to save the Giants. Whoever they get, if they want a rookie savior, it's got to be like somebody like Cam Ward, somebody that can run. You have to be able to run for your life and still make throws as a rookie quarterback saving a bad team.
Yes.
That's the only way you can survive.
In all honesty, I know they want to draft. This isn't the greatest draft. To me, if they want a quarterback, they need to figure out a trade or something. I bet, here's my prediction. I think they go after Kirk Cousins.
I don't think that's a good move. I think Cousins is done, man.
I think he is too, but I think they go after him.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Jets need to go get him. Yes.
They're not going to. Their Jets are
The wasteland.
the Jets are literally the worst team in football right
They're
now.
horrible.
I know their record isn't the worst. They are literally the worst team in football.
Rodgers had a 1.2 QBR last game.
They're horrific, man. They're so bad. They're embarrassingly bad. And then, you got New England's got right now the number one pick. They're not, I mean, they're bad.
Yeah, but they could win next week.
They got a young quarterback that's good, though. Drake May's good. And I think Las Vegas is sitting up there. Cleveland's up there. They just restructured Sean Watson's friggin' contract.
What the hell? Yeah.
So the massage is
crazy,
coming
man.
back, baby. He's coming back.
Him and Stefanski will both be gone next year then.
Well, I mean, nobody's going to take him, so it might as well restructure it and get another. What are they going to do?
How
Do you think they restructure and then they secretly they're restructure now so they can cut him?
Well, he's going to get all his
June?
money. Regardless of what happened, the restructuring, he's still getting all his money. I don't know what the restructure was, but he's going to get his money.
When do you think Myles Garrett starts asking?
He has asked.
He has been.
already.
They won't get rid of him?
Mm-mm.
He already said he wants to be in Cleveland. He wants to talk to them after the season. Like, what's the plan? Because I don't want to sit on a losing team again.
Yeah,
I feel
'cause
bad for him, man, because he's a beast.
Still a beast.
So good.
He's really
He's only
good.
got a couple more years of like that speed though.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
edge rushers, man, they deteriorate quickly later on in there.
and when he asked about specifically what is the quarterback situation, that tells you right there he has zero faith in Deshaun Watson And obviously, they don't have a quarterback right now.
Well, they had Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who has the worst touchdown to interception ratio ever in the NFL.
Yeah,
he has 1 touchdown and 10 interceptions.
They're
They look
bad.
confused.
They're really bad. There's some really friggin' horrific teams, but the playoffs are just about set. I mean, they have a couple games. I know tonight's game. I don't think it has much of a bearing on anything.
It doesn't necessarily. Well, it's the Kansas City game tonight, right? Who plays?
It's gosh,
I can't remember. I don't know if it necessarily has a big...
I think next week the Detroit game is probably the one that has the big bearing on stuff. Detroit plays tonight, actually.
Detroit, that's right. That's
so,
who plays
I mean,
tonight.
if they lose, then it still comes down to next week.
It still comes down to whoever wins that. Yeah. Here, I got. What do you guys? I saw one of probably the worst takes I have personally think is horrible take I've ever seen by one of the Fox analysts, and he came out and said that the Patriots should trade Drake May for a top 5 pick and pick Hunter and Sanders, fire Mayo, and bring in Dion, the coach. Where's your thoughts on that, my friend?
Clickbait shit, and so stupid. Drake May is a great quarterback. He's going to be really good for him.
Could you imagine Robert Kraft trying to wrangle Deion Sanders?
I honestly don't. If Deion goes somewhere, he's going to have to go somewhere with an owner like a Raiders guy, or
he'd have to go to Dallas.
I'll tell you what, the Carolina owner's crazy enough to take him.
He's crazy enough to take him, but not. I don't think Carolina. The fan base also, like if he came to Dallas, I think he would get a welcome. Like reception.
It really does sound like McCarthy's coming back to Dallas, though. They've been in talks these past week or so. I think he's coming back.
They just signed Dak to a huge contract. They're not going to go get Shedeur Sanders.
No, I don't think it's a good idea. I'm just saying as a fit.
I agree.
Deion would get murdered in New England.
I agree.
The fans wouldn't put up with that.
Anywhere I think he can go, he's not going unless his son is there.
Yeah.
And it like Atlanta, he played there. They got a quarterback.
Yeah.
Dallas got a quarterback.
Penix looks... he's going to be.
He's looking really, really good.
He threw that fastball last night. The game tying touchdown.
He's a good quarterback.
How the hell did he get that to the ball that Pitts? That was crazy.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with him. But I think Vegas is going to be the landing spot for
God.
Shedeur.
That is great.
Yeah, happily.
So is it a Sanders Hunter combo deal? Is it what?
No,
teams are trying to
here's the thing. There's all this talk. The NFL doesn't put up with that shit at all. Only in little spurts so they can post it on their social media, but then they turn around and find people. I mean, Jalen Hurts came out and wore 2 different color cleats. They put it on their social media and then fined him for wearing 2 different color cleats. The NFL's not going to put up with bullshit. They're just not. The whole pomp and circumstance of Colorado is not going to play well in any NFL team.
And we don't have to listen to it we only have to listen to it one more time, and that's at the draft, on draft day. After that, we don't have to hear any more of that shit. Because, I mean, even Caleb Williams, all the crap about him, blah, blah, blah. But, once the season started, it's the season. There's a bunch of other good players out there, and,
it's the best of the best on every single team.
That's what locker rooms shut that shit down.
Oh, yeah.
You don't need NFL or coaches to deal
Vince
with it.
Wilfork coming in his overalls.
Dude, yeah. I mean, that's it. And if
they
you're
don't
not, if
play
you
that.
keep running your mouth, you get
they don't play that shit.
Clipped by a safety that weighs like 230 or something,
Yeah. The other, so yeah, that was a horrible take. I just wanted to mess with you guys about it because that's a horrible take. The other thing, there's and Patrick Mahomes started this because he's a great quarterback. A lot of stuff Patrick Mahomes do, everybody tries to mimic, but they can't. And it's the pulling up on the sideline bullshit that we're seeing to start coming into college football. If those quarterbacks do that in the NFL, look what happened to Caleb. Caleb Williams tried that shit this year, and a safety came down and blew him up. And he ain't done it again. He gets out of bounds now. Why are they doing that? Trying to bait a roughing call?
But the thing is, those guys in the NFL, they'll take a roughing call and crush you one time. I mean,
hell yeah.
I mean, they're not.
A coach like Dan Campbell's going to tell him to do it.
Yeah, take him out one time. We'll take the 15 yards. Because that's just stupid shit.
I would teach that in college. I mean, I would say hit him once.
It's starting to be like a problem, though.
College,
You're starting to see a lot of quarterbacks do it. Somebody's going to get very hurt.
Yeah, they are.
Mahomes never does it when somebody's
No,
coming
not
at him.
when they're. Let's say
That's
the
difference.
problem, right?
He knows when he can get away with it.
Everybody tries to mimic Mahomes, but Mahomes it's a different animal, man.
It's not even a different animal. It's just being smart. He just thinks about it before he does.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's not like baiting them. Or anything.
No.
Do you think he has the butthead laugh that he has when he's running? When he's running down the field?
He might. He does smile a little.
I don't know. It's a problem, and you're starting to see it more and more often now, and you're starting to see like the pro guys start to debate that. If I was one of those defensive guys, I'd put your fucking cleats over your head one time.
You only see the young pro guys do it.
Yeah.
You don't see.
Yeah.
A veteran.
They get. Kirk Cousins knows how to slide.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford. No. Speaking of Matthew Stafford, though,
they're in.
Holy shit!
They won the division.
The Rams won the division.
Nuts. I wouldn't have guessed that.
No.
Hell no.
I wouldn't either.
How the hell did that happen?
I like the coach out there, and I like Stafford, so I'm okay with it. But I got to be honest, they just don't seem like a very good team.
They were one and done in the playoffs.
You say that, but they went and beat Buffalo.
That's the thing with the NFL. Anybody can beat anybody.
And they have
any
receivers
in the NFL.
And Stafford, if he gets hot, he's good. I don't know. I'm shocked with that one. It's gonna be fun. I like the playoffs.
Yeah. How do you feel about? I know I've asked you this. Actually, I'm going to ask G this. How do you feel about with all the injuries that Detroit has? Man, their whole defense has been
like 19 people or something.
Where do you put them? How do you think they'll fare? They're going to have a hard time without some of those guys coming back, right?
I think, yeah.
That sucks, man. That team is so good.
Are they getting anybody back through the play? If they win, are they going to get people back like throughout the playoffs?
There's a couple guys that'll come back, but like Aiden Hutchinson done.
Yeah.
He wrapped his leg around somebody else. That was gross.
Yeah.
I mean, some of their bigger names are like hurt. They ain't coming back.
That's true, but like you said, I mean, it's still a pro team, and I know they might not be like the elite dudes that are starting, but they're still pro players, and they got an excellent coach. I think that guy will get them going. Honestly, the NFL, the top teams in the NFL, it's tough.
It is tough. Green Bay is really freaking good, and they're clicking right now. Yeah, Minnesota's really good.
Jordan Love hasn't thrown a pick in like 300 pass attempts or something crazy, unless he threw one.
I can't remember if he threw one last night.
But it was like he came along like super well in the back half.
Minnesota,
tough,
man, just all year, just consistently grinding people to the ground.
That coach gets it too, man. I don't know. That's the difference in the NFL. You can really tell if you look at the best teams and look at the coaches that they have. It's night and day. It's so nuts. Except, I guess, for Dallas might be kind of.
I mean, I would definitely fight with you that the Eagles coach is an idiot and this team carries him.
So those are the two that swap, right? McCarthy and
because McCarthy's a great coach. He's just not bad.
Eagles,
yeah. Sirianni's man.
Yeah.
Sorry there, Boomer. I know I get this text from you every week when you listen to the podcast, but listen, that coach. I know he's your best friend right now because they're winning, but he's gonna make some stupid ass play call. You're gonna hate him again in the playoffs.
Coach.
You know what the good thing is though? I think the players they have a little more pull with their coaches and the pros. So I think, I mean, he still can make some bad calls, but they're gonna let him know.
Yeah,
like this is fucking stupid. We're not, hopefully. I just want to see good games. I mean, I'm a Buffalo guy, and they're playing great.
They're on stride right now.
The games are just fun to watch.
They have been fun to watch.
The NFL's been good this year. I like the NFL games.
I mean, even that game last night, the Commanders. Yeah, it was such a good game, man.
It was great to see them finally winning again too.
Yeah,
that's a big turnaround. And then with Minnesota, I was reading where did you see the team where they just like the team gathered around Darnold. I think they want him back.
Yeah,
I think McCarthy was going to be JJ McCarthy was going to be the guy. I think they got to sign. Darnold's not old. I mean, he's a young guy.
Give Darnold 3 years and let McCarthy just develop behind you like they did with Jordan Love.
Well, they either do that or they use him as trade bait and trade him to New York.
You would have to get a number. If you're Minnesota, you have to get a number 1 for him.
But you have
to get a first round pick for him.
Can you imagine how many calls they're going to be getting for JJ McCarthy?
I'm sure they've been getting a ton already.
Because he played really well in the preseason. And teams like the Giants and the Jets, and there's lots of other teams that need quarterbacks. But
yes,
I mean, they're going to be calling them. And I think they're going to be open to trade him. I think Darnold he makes $10 million this year. He'll probably make 30 something next year. And they got to sign him to a longer contract. He's played really well. So we'll see.
That coach there, man, he is great with quarterbacks.
Amazing.
Look what happened. Kirk Cousins was really good there, and then he went to Atlanta and he forgot to play football.
Well, he said he didn't forget.
I think we all have watched him forget how to play football.
I was an advocate for Cousins.
I love Kirk Cousins.
They were making some weird offensive play calling. Like, they weren't running the ball well.
It's a different team with Penix in there, though.
No, it is. But I didn't think Cousins was the problem. And then it started to be the problem.
I don't think he was
bit.
ever a good fit at Atlanta. I still think he has a couple years in him. Not in Atlanta, though.
It would be a good...
We'll see.
It would be... You know what? It would be good for Penix to have Cousins as his backup and still having that, like, mentor.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I think that's done. Cousins ain't staying there.
No, if I was Cousin, I want to go get a starting job somewhere.
But he's supportive of Penix. Yeah, and that would be good for Penix, but I know it won't happen.
Yeah.
I think he gets a shot somewhere else. He might be. I think he'll be okay.
Giants.
Giants Jets.
Yeah, just let the Jets be the wasteland.
Giants Jets. They get everybody, all the guys.
All right. Do the Eagles make a run?
No.
Man, you're so against them.
No, I don't think they make a run. I don't think
keep
they're that
winning.
Good.
They just keep
Sorry,
winning.
Boomer.
Saquon's an animal.
Yeah, they making a run.
Oh,
playoff football.
No run.
Sub question. Final game of the year. Does Saquon get the 101 to break Dickerson's record?
Yeah, against the Giants.
You know what? I hope Saquon's nice and classy. Gets 99 and asks to be set.
I'm curious if he would do that.
Barry Sanders did it in college.
I know. I would be curious if Saquon, or he could just play like one half because they don't need the win. They don't need anything.
Sirianni already came out and said, I don't even know if he's playing or not. And that would be a disservice to your running back to not play him.
I don't think so, though.
For a record like that record?
Asterisk.
That's a big record.
It is a big record, but the Giants, I mean, it's a friggin' trash game.
It is, and you're risking getting hurt. I get that.
If Saquon goes down, that's a wrap for the Eagles.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean,
I don't know. A.J. Brown's a monster.
Yeah, but he won't
just throw the ball to him.
He won't have time to throw. He won't have time to throw if Saquon's not running.
I would be curious to what Saquon. I'm sure he's going to ask him what he's going to do. Do you want to play and break it or no? If he doesn't play, it's not because of Sirianni. It's because of Saquon.
That's fair.
If he does play, it's because of Saquon. Either way.
Who do you think? I mean, the way I say it, I think they're the clear cut on that side of the NFL. I think they're kind of the clear cut.
I don't think so. In the NFC?
Who over them?
I think first round they bow out. I just don't
really.
No, I don't think they're going to win.
Who could they potentially get first round?
I mean, they could get like a Tampa Bay ain't gonna beat them in playoffs. I'm not
in the playoffs. Baker actually steps up in big games. Maybe that is true.
Baker can get it done.
I don't know. I can't remember who they would projected to play right now. I don't think they win past. I don't think they get past first round. Okay. Although I think they get a bye, don't they? Maybe.
Yeah, they would get a bye.
Yeah. I don't know. Sorry, Boom.
The team is.
Nah, I don't agree. I don't agree with you.
I know you don't.
I don't think they're that good. I think they've been beating teams. But
I'm trying to save a friendship that's been around since I was 12 years old.
But he loves when I bust his balls.
I know he does, but he doesn't like it when I do it.
I'm rolling your balls, baby.
I have to be contrarian for you.
Boomer.
All right.
Rolling balls.
I think we sufficiently covered it enough so that the text won't be super angry. Next up, do the Bills make a run? Or are you kind of against? Keon Coleman has been stepping up these past few weeks. Man, he's a very good wide receiver. But has the defense let him down like they have a couple times this year?
The defense will let him down. But I think, man, I don't know. I mean, Josh Allen's playing
pretty good.
So nuts.
He's unbelievable.
Pretty good.
But playoffs is just different, dude. Like the defense has to show up a little bit. They have to give him some room.
Yeah.
But like you said, Coleman is playing great, and that's what burned him last year is drop passes.
Right, and Coleman has sticko on his hands.
That is why they lost, because the year before Josh Allen made mistakes. last year they dropped passes.
They dropped
They
passes.
had like 8 drop passes.
Yeah, it was like bad, really bad.
Honestly, I don't know. I hope they can push through.
I feel like they have a run in them. It feels
If they
something
get it
feels
going-
like that.
if they get
Josh
it
Allen
going,
feels
it'll be-
very different this year.
If they get it going, I think they will.
I think they will. I think they do.
So how far did the Ravens make it?
No, God, freaking Ravens.
How can you
First
not
round.
like the Ravens, man?
First round.
I like Lamar. I like watching Lamar play, man. It's exciting to
You know
watch him
what?
play
He
football.
He is a good player.
You hated him.
but I don't like him. He's not like my favorite.
Do you
player.
hate him though?
No, I don't hate him. But I don't like him.
Oh, hey, baby steps.
He did good for me in fantasy football, but
He makes some friggin' plays that nobody else is
he
making.
does. But they always choke in the playoffs. He particularly chokes in the
But
playoffs.
he has Derrick Henry now.
Yes, correct.
that is a big thing to have.
What running back did he? J.K. Dobbins is a good wreck. He ain't Derrick Henry.
But he still throws. He throws picks.
He's been better this
he
year,
does-
though.
Yeah,
He's super accurate this year.
I mean, he's probably winning the. It's between him and Josh Allen at this point, which I think Goff should be in the conversation.
He
But
should be.
I don't think they're putting him
Joe
in the conversation.
Burrow's
He doesn't
numbers
run.
should be in the conversation.
But
He's
that
had
team-
a phenomenal year.
They just don't run.
He's having a phenomenal year.
He is.
He's having an amazing year, but he's on a bad team.
Yeah, he
That
is.
shouldn't matter for the MVP.
But it
should
does.
just be a phenom. I know, but like the other quarterbacks, they throw the same as Jackson and Allen, but they can't run. And,
No,
No, they
and
can't
those
run.
those
No.
guys run like
I agree.
that's
like
pretty-
a
that's
gazelle.
Dude,
Prediction.
Lamar Jackson is
First
outrageous.
Oh, first
They
round
gone.
out. Every
Who will they get first?
All the
round?
birds go down.
all
We
the
got
bir-
Eagles
oh,
and Ravens.
Birds down.
Oh,
Bird
all
flu.
the birds.
It's a bird flu.
the birds.
The bird flu strikes again. Everybody, got to watch out for that. Hey, watch out for those flying birds.
Oh, God. Yeah, I think they both go down. All birds are down.
I mean, I can see both those teams make a pretty deep
nah,
run.
I don't think so.
What do you guys think about the Chiefs? Do you think this squeaking by business?
I
will
think they're
get
going
them
to just
there?
keep
They always
winning, man.
squeak by.
Until Andy Reid loses, I'm going to bet on Andy Reid.
I'm glad you said that. I was watching them the other day. They weren't doing anything particularly like crazy.
No, backup quarterbacks in.
Andy Reid can see the future.
That man wins games. He just wins games.
There's never a play where somebody's not open. He knows where the defense is going to be.
You know what he
reads
calls?
the fucking future.
He calls in the headset. The Bundlerooski dude. Bundlerooski.
No, I agree. I think they're hard to beat, man. They're always in the game.
Always.
And if they're close, Mahomes will take them down and
Here,
win the game.
well, here's it. Andy Reid's amazing head coach. Steve Spagnuolo is by
Yeah.
far and away
Yeah, he's
the
good.
best
Are they
defensive
getting Chris
coordinator.
Jones back?
Yes. And he's a monster. That team is good.
Yeah, they are good.
On the defensive side, they're very,
Defensive
very
side,
good.
They're gonna be hard to
offense
beat.
Their
is
offense
fine.
has been fine. Mahomes,
Because Andy Reid
Mahomes makes a lot of magic happen, and Andy Reid is an amazing offensive mind.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're looking at like they do some crazy ass lineup,
Yeah.
and then it's just a normal play.
They're going to be hard.
They're going to be hard.
They're
to
hard
beat.
to bet against.
I can't until he
gotta
loses.
be
I'm
there.
not betting against
You got to
him.
say they're going to be there. And more,
I think they can get outscored though. Like if a team was scoring against their defense, I don't know that they would necessarily be able to keep up.
yeah, this year they're not scoring. They're not as prolific. On
They're
offense.
not, but it's also we're going into the playoffs.
Yeah. It'll be
Playoff
good.
football's a lot
Be-
different
be
too,
fun
so
to
we'll
do.
see who steps up. I mean, Mahomes he's great in the regular season, but how many MVPs does he actually have? He makes his money in the play. He makes crazy
Yeah.
plays when it counts.
No,
the
he's
most.
good. He's really good. So, well, that'll be fun.
That will be a very, very interesting thing because I do think they're down a little bit, even though they've only lost one fucking game. They feel down. Like the look of them looks a little bit less explosive than they have been.
It is the defense though.
Their defense is
Their
good.
defense is really good.
It is good. It is good this year.
And the fact Steve Spagnuolo was like, fuck the head coaching jobs. I'll just ride me and you, Andy Reid, buddy. Let's do it.
Why not?
Is awesome.
Why not? What a combo.
Hell yeah. Those guys are awesome. It's hard to get. I have a hard time betting against them now. Minnesota's very good this year. Green Bay is like probably the hottest team besides yesterday they lost, but I mean,
They still look good though.
They
in
look
their
very
loss.
good.
Yeah.
Minnesota looked great.
Minnesota
And-
looks good.
And that Detroit offense is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Those could be things. The question mark in Detroit is all those people replacing the defensive side. What happens? What happens at power back now that everybody's just going to key in on Jahmyr Gibbs? They don't have Montgomery anymore. What happens there? So there are some questions that'll come up, which just sucks because their defense at the beginning of the year is a whole different personnel than now.
Yeah, I mean, I think. I don't know.
Sadly, they'll win one or two, but they're probably not making the Super Bowl. Which
I wouldn't bet against them either.
it's hard to get
I think there's
bet
some
against
good
Dan
teams.
Campbell
There's some
too.
good teams. There's some good teams out there.
If I was a player and Dan Campbell was giving me a pregame speech, I think I could run through a fucking wall.
Yeah, he's
Like that's
That's
the guy
amazing.
you really
Yeah.
want to just. And so those younger guys that are getting their opportunities, or that's second string guys are having to step up. I mean, they're going to be jacked.
Yeah, he's like your dad. He can get mad at you. You just don't want to let him down.
yeah.
He can get as mad as he wants.
Oh, I was going to say he's like the Undertaker on WWE or something, and he's like talking to you through the TV to fucking tombstone.
I just feel like you'd look at him and be like, man, I don't want to be the one to let this guy
Oh
down.
God,
He's
Nope.
an awesome coach, though.
he is. It's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping. Let's see. I'm hoping Tampa Bay gets in. I like Baker, and I think if they get in, you never know about them.
Baker does step up
makes
in
magic.
big games. I will give, yes, he does.
He can score. They're not the greatest team. They're not going to win the Super Bowl, but they could possibly beat somebody. It'd be fun.
It depends on who else loses unexpectedly. You
Yeah.
never know. The road could get easier for a team like that.
Yeah. Even if Denver gets in, I mean, they're actually not a bad team.
I mean, Washington
Good
could
defense.
beat a lot
Washington
of people.
can play.
Like there are teams they
Yeah.
hit their strides. It's going to be hard to beat them.
Yeah. Chargers. My Chargers are in.
Oh man, Herbert looked very good.
Herbert's throwing
this week.
He started out the season. They didn't throw much, but he's throwing more.
But you look at Harbaugh's system every week; it's a very run heavy,
And
system.
they love that guy out there.
They love him.
Those players love him. So I mean,
Who's the running back for the Chargers?
J.K. Dobbins,
Dobbins.
and he had a phenomenal year this year.
but they love Harbaugh.
They do.
I mean, they were all saying, "Oh, we were hoping he would come." And
You know who's blossomed in that offense? Lad McConkey, because they had no other receivers. Quinn Johnson drops everything. God, he drops everything. I have some of his cards. I just want him to be good, so they're expensive cards. But he drops friggin' everything. But Lad McConkey is catching everything
Lad
right now.
McConkey
He's
is
good.
on fire. He
So
is
that-
really good.
That offense could get somebody for sure. I don't know if they make a run to the Super Bowl though.
I don't know.
We'll see.
We shall see.
We'll see.
Cool.
All right. Well, would you like to touch on any hockey for us real quick there, Big G?
Shit, I haven't checked in a while. The Wild were on top of their division. I'm hoping that continues.
How about
Faber's playing nuts.
Yeah,
Dude, hockey's actually pretty amazing this year to watch. There's some legitimate superstars, and they're all like really going nuts. And then, what's his name with Washington?
Oh, yes. He's
guy,
coming back.
He looks like a 60-year-old grandfather or something because he's just so weathered from years of hockey. And then he gets on the ice and he's
Ovechkin
absolutely
is
dominant.
a monster.
He was passing between his legs.
He's a monster.
For assists and stuff. Holy shit.
Old Alex Ovechkin. I love that a lot of those guys just stay with the same team their whole career.
Yeah, like
A lot of those
Sidney
guys.
Crosby, 20 years with the Penguins.
And Gabby
18 of them as
Malkin.
a captain.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been playing together
The whole time.
the whole time. And both of them are like, I think they both got 500 goals this year
Yep.
or something.
I mean, you had
Hockey's weird.
Steven Stamkos stayed with Tampa Bay for a very, very long time, too.
I thought Nashville would be better once they picked him up and Marchand, but they're just not getting it to go. And I thought Nashville would be better. I think I even kind of picked them as like
They might turn around, though. They have the pieces. They're just a couple older guys, though. But the thing
That's
with
not
hockey
old in
is
hockey.
age doesn't matter in hockey.
not old in hockey, man.
They all get
Guys
older.
are flying.
I mean,
man.
Connor McDavid, I think, is 15 years in the league, something like
Yeah.
that. And he is it's over. Nobody can keep up with him.
Yeah.
No.
So the younger guys are fun to watch too.
Evander Kane. He's pretty damn good, too. Is Winnipeg still kind of ruling the roost a little bit over there. They were winning a lot.
They're winning
at the beginning of the year, I don't know if they've stopped.
They're up on the Wild in points right now, but they have the same. No, yeah, they're up. They're 4 games up in wins. They're 6 points up on the Wild. 5 points up on the Wild.
I mean, you look at all projections preseason. No one had them doing that this year.
No, they had Winnipeg and the Wild in the bottom half of the league, which is it's crazy that they've turned it around. Let me check real quick. Who's in the Eastern? The Leafs, the fucking Leafs, dude. If the Leafs make a playoff run, Toronto will be the craziest place on planet Earth.
They'll burn that place down.
On planet Earth. They've been waiting for 50-something years.
They'll burn it down.
And they're up right. They're tied with the Panthers in points.
Yeah, they're up to first place, right?
So, holy shit. I mean, I always call him, I can't remember the guy's name. I call him Niedermeyer or something. Nylander. Freak. Austin Matthews, freak. These guys are just playing lights out.
They have a very good team this year, but it's still the Leafs.
It's too bad that Winnipeg looks as good as they do.
Winnipeg looks really
good.
Because
Toronto might run into a brick wall if they make it.
We'll see.
I don't know, Florida still looks amazing.
It's hard. Well, I mean, they won it last year, and they pretty much brought that whole team back, so it's hard to bet against that.
Yeah, and Kachuk was injured for a lot of the year last year. I think I told you guys he played with like a broken sternum, but still played. Hockey players don't fuck around.
That's crazy.
So it's going to be fun. I mean, I think damn it, did they already play it? The Winter Classic? They're playing it on Wrigley Field.
They're playing at Wrigley. I'm not sure if that was this past weekend or the weekend coming up.
I got to catch one of those games outdoors.
That'd be pretty cool.
Outdoor in the snow.
That would be fun. Yeah, that would be really fun. I like it.
All right. Well, all right. Bunk, anything else you want to talk about?
I got nothing. It was a good one.
Yeah, it was very good. A lot of heated debate.
Some good rat-a-tat back and forth.
I liked it.
Good ball rolling going on.
Big G, anything for the people before we go?
No, I'm good. You guys I hope in 2025 we get some more of the chef talk back. Some more recipes or something.
Let's do it.
We can definitely do that.
Do it.
We can definitely do that.
Some more. Wait, you learned a new recipe today, didn't you?
Bracciolis.
You kept just telling me steak rolls. Steak rolls. Well, there's like 9 different ways to make a steak roll.
No, there's only one way.
Braciole is much. It's not what
my
I
grandfather
had
made
envisioned in my brain, my
That's
friend.
The way I want them.
Yeah, I'm gonna try real hard to take those thoughts you have and turn them into food.
You do. I've already given you the recipe. So
yeah. All right.
Make it so.
Well, we'll definitely talk more about about cooking and stuff.
I like it. Yeah, we're gonna lots of new stuff.
We do. We're gonna keep working on it. Keep your eyes and ears out. We're gonna keep working on some stuff. Try to expand a little bit, have more fun. Maybe you guys will see our faces in the near future.
And we're going to have better little music and interludes, too. I'm going to work on that.
Yes, absolutely.
That everybody can hear, even if you're like on a Zoom or something.
Nice. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Well, we'll see if you can figure that button out. Yeah. All right. Well, if you have any suggestions for us, send them into the bunkandpickpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear it. Check out the social medias. And thank you guys so much for joining us. Now, as always, Big G, take us out, my friend.
How do you guys start it?
And we're rolling balls!
All right.
My God, Texas by a million.
We'll see you guys next time.